Hello, hello, hello. Welcome on in. It's Monday. Monday. What's your stock market predictions for next year? What should I invest all in on? I'm never going to give stock advice. Don't talk to me about stocks ever. I am on an indefinite hiatus. I'm not allowed to look at candle charts. I'm not allowed to look at any of it. Okay. Go all in on Enron. Did you hear they're back? If you go to their they're not really like back, but they like tried PR wise to be back. And they redid their website and stuff at some point. And they're I really like their website. Actually, I really like the design of their website in some ways. Whoever they hired to do it had like a couple of things they did that I thought were pretty cool. That being said, it's fucking Enron, so you know, kind of hard to bring it back, you know. You know, when all the V-Social shit was going down, my dad asked me what was happening, and I didn't want to give the full explanation at the moment, so I just said, remember Enron? And he was like, yeah, and I was like, okay. Yeah. And he was like, oh, got it. And then I gave him the full story later. No, they're the reason why books are like done the way they are nowadays with corporate accounting. Which is very, very interesting. That whole situation had such a rippling effect on how everything is doing. Yeah, sorry, I skipped the song. I don't like Kanye. But they really oof. What do you think about the streamer wars? I talked about it yesterday. I have opinions, I guess, which people can have if they want. I don't know. Go watch the VOD. My editor was like, "Can I clip this stuff?" And like give me a list of things that I said yesterday of stuff that he could clip. And I'm like, you know what? Cut it and let me watch it because I don't know. This is the sort of stuff I could talk to you guys about. But if I post this as a clip, like YouTube audience is so different. So some stuff that I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like I don't give a fuck. You know, it's just more engagement. And then there are other things where I'm like, I don't want to hear it. You know. So we'll figure it out, man. It'll get clipped out of context. No. People will have a problem with the context. People just don't like what I say sometimes because that's, you know, the point of opinions is you're not supposed to agree with all of them. But, you know, people are really used to a lot of streamers that play it very, very, very safe and only like they just don't even say opinions because the moment you give an opinion, it could be as simple as like, I don't like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, which is true. I don't like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. But the moment you give a singular opinion on anything, even if it's like mostly positive, you alienate some people that don't agree with you, whether that's more or less, right? The moment you give any opinion on anything. So most streamers play it incredibly safe and try to be as little, you know, as low opinionated as possible. You know, I know so many people that won't even give their real opinions on like game awards, like what game should win what. They're just like, oh, I think this one should win because I like it, and then they like refuse to speak negatively about anything, even if that's how they feel, because they're like afraid, you know. And the thing is, I think that is the right play. I think that's good to do. I don't think that's cowardly or anything. I'm like, no, you actually should not put yourself up for dealing with that shit if you don't want to deal with it. Like, you don't have to subject yourself to that. So I think that is the right play, you know, but I personally don't care. So I will just talk about however I feel about anything and everything, you know, all the time, I guess, if asked or if prompted or if it comes to mind. And, you know, I'll just have to tank it, which is fine. Yeah, I love everything and everyone. Literally. If you don't want to deal with that kind of stuff, you have to go that route, which I think for some people is mentally better for them. Some people, like, holding it in, quote unquote, isn't bad. It's more like keeping their opinions private is healthier for them, because when their opinions aren't private, they have a hard time dealing with everything related to that, everything that happens after, right? Even if it's only a tiny, you know, you've probably seen some people, they say something and they get like 20 negative replies on Twitter, and then they get like 200 that are normal, but those 20 affect them so badly, so poorly, and they're like, so many people are saying this, and I'm like, hey, that's 20 people, but it's hard for them, you know? I think it's so much healthier for those folks, which is a lot of people, to just keep it to themselves, you know, absolutely. But, and I think this counts for real life too. It depends on what you're like as a person, and it's not a strong or weak thing. It's just
Do your social media thinks if you say you enjoy peanut butter, that means you hate and mock people with peanut allergies. Faction redeems chat.
Yep. Yeah, you said for award show bullshit, you're all for being mild-mannered because people get real parasocial with their favorite games around award time. During the rest of the year, it's a bit more tolerable. Yeah. I know some people that definitely, like, comment less during that time, because that's when everyone's, like, really up in arms about random shit. Yeah, I don't know. Like, a lot of the time when I give an opinion on something, it's because someone brought it up in chat, right? Or people have been talking about it in the Discord, or like somewhere in my community where it's in front of me, you know? But honestly, if you guys don't bring it up, I'll never bring it up. You know what I mean? Like, if you guys don't bring this shit up, I won't say shit. I don't care. Anytime I give an opinion on something, it's because someone asked or mentioned it. It became a topic. You know what I mean? And I'm like, for me, I'm just like, well, if my chat wants to talk about it, if they want to hear my thoughts on it, then I'll talk about it. But if you don't indicate to me that you want to hear my thoughts, then I won't get my thoughts. I really don't care, you know? So, it's all good, man. So folks who are afraid of negative feedback should probably do some controlled exposure therapy on that, but lots of folks don't really know when to shut up. Yeah. I think everyone should, like, dip their toes in and see how they feel. You might think you're afraid of people lashing out at you, but maybe you say something that's like a mild opinion, and a couple people are mad, and you just go, well, those are Twitter replies, whatever. You know, you might actually not be that affected, but, like, you know, I think most people are better off keeping it safe and not being very opinionated, because it's one of those things where, like I've always stated whatever I felt about whatever I'm asked about, right? And there are a couple things that people, I said, like, you know, well over a year ago, that people just bring up, like, once a week minimum. Someone's bringing it up in a YouTube comment, or replying to me on Twitter with it, or something, you know, where they're just like, the intent is negative. And I'll be like, brother, that was like 2 years ago, you know, like some of this shit is so old. And the thing is, the reason why I'm able to really not, like, feel bad about it or be affected is because I look at this, and by the way people word things and the way they say things, you can tell they're tourists. They don't watch, they don't know me, and they don't really care about my opinion on the thing. They just want to they either just want to shit on me because they don't like me and they don't know me, or they just want to complain about that thing and they don't care about me in that situation. They just found me and were like, okay, I'm going to complain about her because this thing, you know? So it's, like, really easy to just look at it for me and be like, whatever. But not everyone can do that. Some people are more affected. And I think, I feel bad when they get, like, pressed for opinions when they're shots like, what do you think about this? And I'm like, They don't like giving their unpopular opinions, you know? That's just how it is. Low-key, why talk when you could duke it out 1v1 Minecraft ranked speedruns? I know, I kind of wanted to try it, Booster. I kind of wanted to try it. I don't know shit about speedrunning. All I know is people go to the nether and then they throw gold at piglins. And they use beds to kill the dragon sometimes. That's all I know. That's all I know, dude. Ooh, yeah, Texas. Yeah, that's the attitude. Do you think dogs should vote? I'm anti-dog, but pro-cat politics. You can't be here anymore. You can't be here anymore, Garrick. I love all animals. I love everything and everyone. Have you ever tried speedrunning any game? The only game that I seriously practiced speedrunning and felt like I actually got good at, like I actually tried, was Sonic Unleashed, and I was doing the daytime levels because I had a friend who also did it and was like showing me. I was just like curious, and I was like, oh, what do you do to get through this part? And they were like, oh, I do this thing, and I was like, let me try that. And the next thing I know, I was like speed running a lot of levels and just trying it out. Fuck the nighttime levels though, not those. And it was fun because I like racing games or going through a thing with a lot of speed. You know, like I could do that over and over and have fun. But other games, I don't really like speedrunning a lot of them. Like, I don't find it enjoyable. It depends. It depends. Some people will like speedrun a lot of different games because they just enjoy speedrunning in general. But I have to really like mechanically what I'm doing, you know? I don't know. Should we build more exit lanes on the freeway than building more lanes on the freeway? We have too many people, all right? Hey, we were talking about opinions before. You want a real opinion and not joke, not banter. We have too many people. I don't think there should be so many people. However, I'm not going to endorse any method of getting to that point. It's a separate thought from that, you know? I'm not interested in the conversation of achieving that, but, I just believe that there are too many fucking people. No plague. Well, COVID didn't come through for us, you know? People thought COVID was going to be the one, and no, it did not come through for us. The U.S. isn't even that overpopulated yet. Yeah, we're on a trend toward it, so I don't care if we're there yet or not. Statistically, it's bad. There are other places that are absolutely overpopulated. We have the technology and the land and the space on the earth. We have the ability to be completely sustainable and not be fucking up the earth. But the one variable that will always make that harder is how many people we've got. And people will make the argument, they'll be like, we absolutely could use more of our land differently and sustain this many people. But why should we? Why should we? I'm a firm believer that you should keep things generally lower. But again, then you're talking about human lives, which is one of those conversations that like, well, you know, it kind of ends there because there's no good way to make it happen, right? People just have to elect to be like, yeah, I'm not going to have kids or something like that. And even that's going to take too long. So, you know, it's cooked. It's cooked. So I don't really think about the aftermath of that opinion of like, yeah, there are too many, you know what I mean? It's also a money issue with the amount of people. It shouldn't be. It doesn't have to be, is what I'm saying. Basically, like, we have the technology and the land masses, etc., the resources to have everything be utopian and without strife. However, humans aren't like that, so it will never be like that. It will never be like that because people are people and humans are humans, and you know. I'm not talking economically. I'm talking about like the environment and logistically more so. Throw money away in this equation of what I'm talking about. I'm just saying, like, everything is in a place where this could be done we need fewer people, or if we had the same number of people, we need better logistics with how all of this works. It could be absolutely done at the level we're at right now. 100%. We have enough clothing to cover people's bodies for the next, 6 generations is the stat. We have so much food. We have so much food. You know, but like I said, humans are humans, so it will never be like that. But you know, I'm also like a survival of the fittest type. So you know, this is why I don't get into the later conversations. I'm like, well, when everyone has it easy and everyone doesn't have to do anything special to just live, survive, everyone can, you know, have kids, raise kids, whatever. I feel like the population just gets more and more stupid and more inept, which we've already seen. This is just objectively true, you know? You could have like the worst situation ever and you know, you'll live through because medical science is incredible, which, you know, from the emotional perspective is an amazing thing and wonderful. But if you're taking emotion out of it and you're just looking at it purely objectively like that, then like, you know, if this were like your little ant colony you were taking care of and you didn't feel emotionally the same way about it, you'd be like, oh shit, that's bad long term. You know what I mean? So it's like but that's one of those conversations when you apply it to humans, it's very different. So that's why I just say too many people, but it's cooked anyway. You know? You know what I mean? And that's why I just stay in my room and stream, you know? Brother, what are you talking about? It's just, you mentioned Enron, they thought they were selecting for one fitness, but it was something else that ended them. Oh, I guess, I see what you mean. That was like worded so weirdly that I had to read that 3 times in my head to like get what you meant. But yeah. Yeah. What is the amount of hardship okay enough to be sustainable? Yeah, those are the kinds of questions I just don't even care about, because people won't do what needs to be done, or people won't do what's emotionally hard or whatever. You know, humans value sentiment and emotion too much for any of that to ever be. Like, you just can't apply these super, super objective, logical, unemotional solutions to these kinds of problems. So, like, that's why, like, I feel like those conversations don't even matter. You know what I mean? Because life isn't a video game. I mean, if you play a little city management sim, sometimes you're like, oh, this neighborhood's shit, let me just bulldoze it anyway, and the population just like magically, you know, magically stays the same, right? Like, but you can't apply game rules to an existing world because people have emotions and shit, you know what I mean? So that's why, like, I love these objective questions, and I love talking through them objectively, but I feel like when I talk about them on stream, if I really delve into it, people are gonna think I like think this is all good and okay to apply these solutions or something, because they don't get that I'm speaking objectively and I'm taking myself out of it. You know what I mean? So I never go super deep into those conversations, because I'm like, people are really, they don't know how to have conversations without themselves in it, you know? Some do, some don't. But I love talking about the world like, yeah, like we're playing Civ 5 and being like, objectively, we could do blah, blah, blah. These conversations aren't for making the world change. They're just interesting thoughts. Yeah, exactly. It's not like I'm going to make it change my daily life, because I know there's nothing good I could do there, you know? Nah, mean. Hi GEEGA, can I ask how one makes friends as a new VTuber who is incredibly socially awkward and or shy? I get asked this question pretty often. I'm gonna say take the new VTuber out of it. You're asking a baseline question of how do I become less socially awkward? so that I can speak to people, so that I can network. And I think the best way is to practice this in real life. You need to put yourself out there. None of this has to do with VTubing or online making it different than in person or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, you need to just, social skills just need to be built up in general. And the best way to be good at something on stream or in the streamer sphere is to be good at it outside of it. If you have to start with your family, talk to your family and socialize with them more. Do you sit there and just socialize with them a lot? Obviously, you know, your relationship with them makes that possible or not, but still, like, do that more. When your parents have an opinion that's different from yours, do you just go, oh, whatever, and walk away? Or do you sit there and try to talk to them about it? That can help you grind out. Imagine all like progress bars, literally experience bars. You can sit there and grind out the ability to be better at talking to someone and handling someone who doesn't have the same opinions as you, which you're gonna have to do a lot as a streamer or when you're networking with people or whatever, right? Like, stuff like this you should do in real life, because then it's natural if you try to then bring it to online. So if the question's like making friends, go make IRL friends. Go make, I mean, I guess online friends through games or whatever is fine too, but, you know, like, don't necessarily do it only with streamers and stuff. You need to like be able to do that normally. Otherwise, if you try to do it as a streamer, it's going to appear to everyone like you're just networking and you don't even want real friendship with anyone, etc., because you're socially awkward and they're just like, you know, you're gonna like fumble some stuff and they're gonna see it really negatively potentially, you know. So just apply it everywhere, grind up those skills everywhere, you know. Start a fun group activity to help socialize, like doing crack or stripping copper. Ooh, pipes from broken down houses. Do many of your friends hold starkly different views on things? Yeah. I've always been incredibly bothered by people who, or the behavior of people refusing to talk to or be friendly with people that are different from them. And I think, you know, nowadays we're not going to have political discussions here, no politics discussion, but as an example, political views and stuff are a big one, right? Where when people think or feel very differently, people just refuse to associate or don't want to talk to them. They have a neighbor who really likes, you know, the other side, and they're like, oh, guess I won't talk to them much. And I'm like, hey, I don't give a fuck. Maybe I wish someone feels a certain way, yes. That's not going to change me treating them like a good neighbor, you know? Even if some of their views are like crazy, because I believe the only way to get people to change is to build a bridge, okay? And appear in front of them as a nice, reasonable person who they enjoy, who has a differing opinion. Not some sort of like antagonistic, I don't talk to you, defensive kind of thing. There's just no chance, right? And obviously, you know, not to get all psyopy, but this is what's happening in the world, is everyone's so divided on everything and they refuse to be friendly with people that don't agree with them, and they therefore have no chance of ever changing each other. Nothing changes. Nothing will ever change like that, you know? So I'm a big fan personally of, yeah, show don't tell, being nice to everyone no matter what. I know people, I wouldn't call them friends, but I know people that are absolute pieces of shit. I will still treat them well. I will still treat them well in general, and then, you know, when they do something wrong, point it out. Because if someone who treats them well points it out, they might feel some shame, or they might be like, oh, maybe that wasn't good. But if someone they don't give a fuck about points it out, then they don't give a fuck, right? So, you know, I'll always be a proponent of bridge building and being generally nice to people. This is why, like, you might see me hang out here and there with someone who, like, said something bad once, right? And the whole internet is like, oh, if you're friends with that person, it means you endorse what they said. And I'm like, hey, this person's going to continue being an influencer, creator, streamer, whatever. You can't change that. But if they never have any friends who are different from them, they might never change. But a lot of streamers that have like gotten better over time, a lot of it has been because they've befriended other people in the space who are like, hey man, maybe don't do that. And then they're like, oh, my nice friend said maybe don't do that. That's the only way they change, you know? Obviously, there are certain people where I'm like, yeah, it's a bit cooked. I don't want to associate, you know? But I'm not going to be like, you have to be perfect for me to talk to you. That's crazy. Yeah, right. Like, people are very anti-forgiveness and shit. So it's like, nutty. Nutty. Also, yeah, Sev, I remember that. There was a guy who, he got a bunch of KKK members to quit because he became friends with them, and they were just like, oh, maybe this guy ain't so bad. And, like, they just needed, like, it's terrible in general that they needed that, but they just needed an example, you know? Or, like, something I say all the time is, you know, I've always had a lot of role models in my life, family, friends, etc., that are all types of different people that have wildly differing or similar views to me and to my family and to people around me, whatever. Always had a lot of really, really, really important people to me in my life that are like every race and like every creed and every whatever. So to me, I'm just like, maybe it's like, I think it's like a no-brainer that you can treat anyone normally, nicely, and like, people are just people, etc., etc. But other people don't have upbringings that expose them to things. Some people live in a town with 50 people, or maybe more, but everyone's the same. Everyone feels one way, or, you know, 90% of them. They just don't have the perspective and the lens that other people have. And then other people will attack them and be like, they're a terrible person because they believe this. And I'm like, if you surround a child with 100 people and 90 of them sit there and tell them X is the truth, they're going to believe in X, right? It doesn't matter what the internet says. It doesn't matter if things are globalized, whatever. The people that are really in their life, truly around them in their life experiences, are showing them otherwise. And people be like, no excuse, you have the internet. That's not real life, though. Does it help? Does it help give some perspective? Yes, but they're still going to be like, okay, but when I walk around in real life, this is what I see, you know? So I just personally, I don't know. I don't see the point in being like a fucking asshole to people that are different from me. Even if I think they're straight up wrong. Right? Because how are you going to get anything done being like that, you know? You know, people should all watch documentaries on cults. On cults and people that have sheltered lives, and then look at that and understand that this is, it's so easy to get people into a specific way of thinking or whatever just by changing their environment, right? And then understand that that's just an extreme version of it, but everyone experiences that to some extent. You know, I'm sure I've got thoughts and views or whatever that like are just, you're never going to have unless you were in my environment, right? We all have that. We all have got that. But, you know, you just gotta recognize that. You just have to be aware of that, and then you're fine, man. It doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. You just have to be aware that you think differently and that you're allowed to think differently and not treat people like shit. TLDR, you know? You're well spoken. Have you ever considered a podcast or similar? I could listen for hours and stay engaged. What do you think this stream is when I'm chatting? Literally a podcast. I just don't make it topical. I talk about whatever someone in chat brings up. Like, this conversation is here because someone brought something up in chat that led us here. You know what I mean? I don't even got the model up. We're 42 minutes in. That's right. I've been doing this longer, so you get something that's like a poop cast at the beginning. I have a lot of audio-only listeners, like earlier in the day especially, because so many people are at work from North America. So I love leaving the model off for a little bit because it lets me not, I don't do anything that like doesn't make sense if you can't see, you know, so those people get like, it's a proper podcast. You could do this audio only, it doesn't matter, you know. So that said, it's kind of down to what you personally feel you vibe with. Difference in opinions is fine, but when you feel like someone's hazardously hostile to others, it's fine to go, okay, I don't want that energy though. Oh yeah. I'm not saying you have to be friends with everyone. Look, I'm nice to everybody. I don't like people. On average, I don't like people. Okay, I go outside and I go to the supermarket and I'm like, fuck, I hated that. I am impatient with people sometimes, you know? Do I let them know that I'm feeling impatient? No, but I feel it. I was talking about it yesterday. I go to the supermarket and dude is standing on left side of the aisle and he's got his cart turned to the right, blocking the whole thing. And I'm like, just standing there, making it very obvious that I'm there. I say something. Oh, let me get through. Oh, sure. Dude pulls it back 2 inches. And I'm like, are you fucking serious? People are like this. People have no self-awareness. I don't like being around those people. I'm still going to be very nice to them. You know? And if they want to have a conversation, even if I think they're a dickhead, I'm still going to have a conversation. Right? Did you say, are you fucking serious? I said, no, you know what I said? This did happen a while back. Dude pulled his cart back like 2 inches, right? He wasn't looking. He didn't even look. I said, as a joke, I went, I'm glad you think I'm that skinny. And he turned and he went, oh, my bad. And I said it in a joking manner and had a pleasant expression on my face so he could tell it was like a joke. Ha ha ha. You know? And then he was like, oh, ha ha, because I didn't want to go like, fuck you, asshole, I can't get through, you know, like. Yeah, joking is OP. Joke about everything. Joke about everything because people don't like being called out on shit, but when you make it funny, they feel less like you're mad at them and more like you're just calling out the situation. You know? Can be nice to say I love this image. I love this image too. I love it. It's so good. Also means they can't accuse you of being a Karen first. Oh yeah, when you joke about shit. Look, de-escalate, de-escalate, de-escalate. Always. Always. Something's going on. Someone does a thing. Pleasant expression on the face. Crack a joke. Not at the person's expense. At your own expense is always safe. But that's just how it is. That's just how it is, man. Has there been a collab space stream with Heavenly and Matara, though? Or is that pick false advertising? What the hell is a collab space stream? Do you mean creating an episode of the show? No. Collab in space. Didn't someone stream from space? That's pretty cool. Ooh, outer space podcast. I don't want to go. I know a lot of people are like, dude, I'm so rich, I'm going to get in a rocket and go to the moon. And I'm like, hey, man, you couldn't pay me enough. You could not fucking pay me enough to no. Just no. Crazy. I don't know. Guys, just play Outer Wilds, okay? And you'll feel the beauty of space and you'll cry. And you'll be like, oh my god, the world, the universe is so beautiful. Everything must be protected. And I love nature and I love society. You know, and you'll get the same feeling, man. You don't have to go to space, like, for real. All right. Speaking of which, that's a game I wanted to speedrun, unironically. Like, you guys are talking about, is there a game you'd ever speedrun? I want to do an Outer Wilds speedrun. I want to learn how to do it. I've watched some videos. I know the techniques. I think I would unironically like to do that because it looks fun. It looks fun, and trying to like aim shit and go backwards in space and everything, like, you know, it's pretty cool, like, mechanically. So I kind of want to do that. Longest part would be a section on Ash Twin. Kind of, sorta. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you can't really like clip through. You have to legitimately like just play the game fast for a lot of it. But yeah, I think I also kind of want to do their shipless speed runs, which look really fun. You just go without the ship, blow it up, send it to the sun, whatever you got to do, and you just do a speed run without the ship. That shit is cool. Wait, what? Yeah, so okay, wait, Outer Wilds pro tip right now. If you haven't played it, don't worry, I'm not spoiling anything with this. If you send out the scout launcher in space, it pushes you back slightly. Or not just in space, anywhere. It pushes you back slightly. And you know the way space works. Action, reaction, right? So you push that out, you get pushed backwards. And if you keep spamming the scout launcher, you keep pushing yourself back more and more, and you can like travel around. So if you ever lose your ship in that game, you can actually just spam the scout launcher in a direction and propel yourself the other way. So people do shipless speed runs. It's really funny. Saw a clip of a dude looking up from a planet at a specific angle, just jumping backwards into the atmosphere. Yeah, one of the one with the lowest amount of gravity. You can kind of do that. You can do it from the moon too, but then you just end up on their equivalent of Earth. It's doable. It's doable. Anyway, we got one more topic here. Let's make it like a podcast. Give me an actual topic that you care about. I got one if no one can think of a good one. But ask me anything. Ask me anything. Or maybe I'll rapid fire go through them. Ant farms, don't care about them. Let them live out in the wild. Cat Christmas trees, I don't know what that means. I don't know what that even is. The moose lottery. Oh, yeah. You mean the actual permit lottery? That shit's so hard to get into. Some years. Which apple's best apple? A lot of them are good. I don't care. They have different uses. Wood fireplaces. I've had a really old place that I've lived in that had a little wood burning stove in it. The soot gets everywhere. It's fucking awful. Don't do it. It's everywhere. It's terrible. It's terrible. Don't. The idea is so nice, but fire pit inside the home with real wood, soot gets everywhere. Even if you warm the flume beforehand, it's pulling smoke out the flume, whatever, it doesn't matter. Just do it outside. Wood stoves are better. Even with a wood stove, it'll still happen. Just be aware. You gotta clean so much. So much. Eggs still pricey, why? Yeah, I'm gonna beat up the egg gods, dude. Your friend refunded Vintage Story, they were weak. Just tell them they were weak, reverse psychology and say, it's okay. Go back to your Minecraft. I know Vintage Story is hard for you. Say it like that. Hard or soft food for cats? Wet food always better, typically. Any thoughts about holidays these days? What? That's too vague. Do you think Minecraft is a thriving or dying game? I think Minecraft is a thriving game. I think content has changed. I wouldn't say dying. I think obviously Dream SMP happened. People were pulling 100K average viewers in early COVID time during that, but that was COVID time, you know what I mean? So it seems like things are going down because people are comparing to that, but I don't really think it's, it's just individual people that look like they've gotten smaller, but that's content. I think on YouTube, the views and stuff are still very much there. I think it's a little lower than it has been, but I think it's because the audience is aging. I think a lot of them are still playing Minecraft though. And there are always new kids playing. They just, the audience that watched these Minecraft creators is aging. And they're still there. I think just those creators don't always know how to, they don't know how to tap into them as they get older, I think. Because the creators are aging with the people that are in their audience, but they're not aging their content necessarily, Are restaurant tips too high now? Yes. I hate that every single place I go to eat or get anything, it automatically suggests a tip. When you pay on the little payment reader, it's suggested tip. And it'll be at a counter service place, a place where there was no waiter-esque service. It was just someone at the counter. I'm sorry, I do not tip those people ever. Ever. What the fuck? I feel differently about it when the person doesn't get a normal wage and they're using those laws where like you can pay someone lower because tips are a thing. But if they're getting like a normal wage, no. What? It's just, the money is just being extracted from you for nothing. You know, I can't do it. I can't do it. Yeah, if I'm going to sit down, then I'll do it, but I can't. And then, yeah, I was going to say the machines always do that where they start it at 20%, or they start at 15, but often they're starting at 20%. They go 20, 25, 30. And I'm like, what? What about like 15 if the service wasn't that great, 20 if it was normal, 25 if it was pretty good? You know, like what about like like a normal scale or something? But no, they always start at 20. I'm like, what the fuck? I don't know. That's crazy. What's your opinion on white after Labor Day? Oh, it's totally fine. It's totally fine, but I do think it's better to switch to creams. Excel or PowerPoint? That's a stupid question. They have different uses. What? Thoughts on the Netflix Warner Brothers buyout? Interesting. It's very interesting. I think things should probably like stay separate. I just feel like, I know Paramount swept in today and was trying to like, they're trying to bid for it. But I'm like, do we really need more things to be like insane conglomerates? I don't know. But I think it's okay because at least with Warner Brothers, they lost Discovery Global, right? So it's more so like things are still staying kind of broken up. So it's not the worst example of a merger ever, but I don't know. I will say, what I don't like about it, some back-end stuff, there are some projects that I know people are working on that are going to get really fucked up by that. They're putting things in stasis. Things that were maybe getting funded are now getting reevaluated because of the potential merger, and some cool projects may not happen, which really sucks. So, you know, I think that's the part that stinks. Is like generally the bigger a conglomerate is, the less they care about smaller projects. They start cutting them out. So if WB was doing anything smaller that was cool, you know, they're probably going to care a lot less about it. Though Netflix is generally good at lifting up smaller projects. So maybe, but I don't know if they do enough volume. We'll see. I'm skipping any stupid questions. People asking food. Is this thing a sandwich? I don't care. What are the best plants to grow in a home garden, in your opinion? I've never really lived in a place where I could have much of a home garden, so I wouldn't ask me. I could tell you what I do and don't like about different colors of concrete. Do you think people take Christmas too seriously or not seriously enough? Ooh, I was raised in a household that was like very traditionally Catholic, not spiritually Catholic though. I wasn't fed, you know, a lot of lies. I wasn't fed like you have to believe in anything that feels supernatural about any of this stuff, but I was taught to respect a lot of traditions and everything, right? Yeah, cultural Catholicism, we'll call it. Yeah. And different people, like my parents they weren't too strict with it. It was more so my grandparents and older people in the family and my aunts and uncles and things that we would see around holiday time. So like my household didn't really have like crosses on the wall, you know, like we didn't have to like do any of that shit. But whenever holiday time would come around, suddenly, boom, code switch, and like, you know, very respectful of all the traditions. I know everything that's going on. You know, so like, I personally think holidays are important in the lessons they teach. They're times of reverence. The traditions are supposed to be specific things, and I actually don't like when people water them down. Yeah, I don't like when they make it more of a fucking game and less of like a time to do a specific thing. I don't know. That's just me. But I don't think that's preference. It's more like I don't want to do that. It's not I don't think people should do that. You know what I mean? But like if someone's like, oh, you want to hang out and on Christmas, I'm like, what do you not be with your family? What are you crazy? You know, like I would be like that. I feel like, what do you mean you're not going to be with family on Christmas? Friends? On the 25th? Like that's insane to me, you know? But that's just, you know, because I'm more traditional with that stuff. But yeah. That's just me. Some VGen artist was exposed for tracing AI thoughts. I didn't see this, so I'm reading this. I'm giving opinion with no context. Yeah, that's stupid. I mean, did they double down? If they were like, actually, I didn't, then fuck them, you know? If they were like, yeah, I do that, I will adjust my prices accordingly and put that in my TOS, then whatever, buy at your own risk, you know? Like, do I like that? No, but they tripled down. Did they? Okay, yeah, and then fuck them. What the fuck? This has been a thing for a long time, though, that people have always tried to pretend online. Literally since the early DeviantArt days, you'd have so many people tracing other people's art and being like, oh, I drew this. This has been a thing for a very long time. So whether they're using AI to do that or they're just straight up copying someone else's art, this has been like a scandal or whatever that's happened in like with online artists for forever. AI's made that easier, but yeah, no, it's always been a thing. It's always been a thing, and it's been shitty every time. You know, because other people grind skills, and then you just pretend you don't have it. It's just cringe, though. It's cringe. I wouldn't like spend a lot of time thinking about someone who does that and be like, oh my god, I care about this so much. I would just be like, oh, cringe, unfollow. You know, that's it. End of story. You know what I mean? I'm sure people blew up on Twitter and kept talking about it and posted paragraphs and stuff and talked about, like, my guess is they were probably like, this is why this is disrespectful to artists, as if people need to be educated about that. But I think most people, like, no, you know, like, I'm sure everyone got on their soapbox or whatever. I think it's still valid, though, you know, but, like, just ignore them, dude. What should you post on Twitter as a content creator? I don't know, dude. You just spam shit. You should just be posting about yourself and what you're doing all the time. I'm the worst Twitter user. I'm the worst. Do you prefer city or countryside? If you spend any time here, I think you'd know it's city. I like both, though. I've spent a lot of time out in the country, you know, because we don't really have money, so the only vacation, quote unquote, you could take is driving somewhere and spending a day somewhere that's like not the city, right? And it's a cheap vacation to go drive down to a beach somewhere, to go drive upstate to hike somewhere, to go camping or something. So my family actually was quite outdoorsy, because it was cheap. So I've spent a lot of time doing that. We also had some family hobbies that took us out to other states and things, road trip, you know, whatever. Very cheap, again, you know, camping out or staying with family that was somewhere else, living in rural areas. And then as a working adult, I've lived in so many places that are very different from where I'm from. I spent a lot of time around a lot of different areas, and I just feel like, yeah, city is still it for me. And then New York specifically. This person said, does Agile framework really work for projects? Agile methodologies? Yeah, and I'm going to tell you why. Because Agile methodologies are just literally like no-brainer how you organize anything kind of tips, except they wrote it out like it was a thing and they gave it a name, which is what all business jargon is. Right? They'll be like, oh, we need to meet our KPIs. And I'm like, this is a natural occurrence. We don't have to give it a name. Yes, when something is being done well, you can tell because there's a result that appears and you go, it's being done well as evidenced by it being done well, right? But instead they're like, oh, KPIs. You know, Agile methodologies are also kind of like in that general thing. There are some specific methods that are going to be maybe not so natural, but overall being like, yeah, you should have a to-do list, a doing list, and a done list, and tag stuff off of what it's for on a Kanban board. Like that kind of stuff is just, you know, you should organize things into something kind of like sprints. Like they're just putting names on things that are just this is how you work efficiently, and you don't need to name it to do it. You know what I mean? So yes, I think looking it up and learning it is still good, but just be aware that like shit's just like how you should do it anyway. You don't need to call it anything. You don't need to use any specific tools. You could do it all with Post-its and a whiteboard, you know, but like it's nice to learn it in a formal way, to have like words for certain things so that people know what the fuck you're talking about sometimes. You'd be surprised by how much people do need to have it formalized, though. I've learned that more over the years. Whenever someone needs it formalized, I'm like, damn, it's a shame you weren't taught that when you were younger. You weren't taught everything that you should have been taught. That's genuinely what I think. If you need to be taught that formally. It's not the person's fault. I just think, like, if you, for example, if you played, like, games as a kid and you played, like, any little management sims or anything like that, you would understand this stuff. But if you weren't exposed to anything that gave you any type of experience like that, you might not know. Right? It's not the person's fault, but I feel like, you know, maybe something like this should be taught in school systems, you know, logistics a little bit when they're young, like easy stuff, you know. But I digress. You said you place your voice in the maxilla before. Any tips on doing that? I don't have tips on it because I do it naturally, but when I speak, I feel resonance in my maxilla and the roof of my mouth behind my teeth, like that upper area for the most part. I think it's because I just use air a little efficiently. I guess I don't like have a super breathy voice because I'm not pushing a ton of air out. You'll notice I talk a lot in one breath. I'm air efficient. I don't think that's necessarily the right way for everyone to speak. It depends on how you're shaped. But I don't really have any advice on that. Can you parallel park well? Yeah. So I could like only parallel parked for the longest time. And then when they asked me to, on the driving exam, parallel park, they had, you know, two sets of cones placed, and they're like, parallel park in this space. And it was like 2 car lanes long. And I was like, are you kidding me? You know, did it because I'm used to parallel parking with like 3 inches in the front and in the back, you know, like you get used to like city parking, man. I don't know. I was just like, brother, but I get it. But I thought it was also kind of stupid because I was like, if you're doing this in the city, shouldn't you teach kids how to parallel park and like require them to be able to do it in a small space? Like, I don't know. I don't know. Jill called me mother hen. Hold on, I'm scrolling through Excel or Google Sheets. Depends on purpose. I've been really liking Google Sheets, actually. They've developed Google Apps Script pretty heavily over the years to be able to combat, or not combat, but to be a contender against, like, you know, the whole Microsoft Windows VBA environment, you know, everything you can do with that. And I think there's so much you can do now with it that you couldn't before. So it's really grown on me. There are still some things that you can't do, though, with looping into certain existing programs you've got going on that you need to use or whatever. So sometimes a project like you just need to use VBA. You just have to. But if you can get people to migrate over to, like, you know, Google and stuff, I think their tools have been really nice. Really nice. Really great. Yeah, G Suite's been wonderful. And I think it's good to learn because it uses a lot of like scripting language that you can sort of apply elsewhere because it's Google Apps Script is based on other stuff. So it's nice. It'll kind of set you up to understand some other things if you ever wanted to pivot. How do you become more social online? I feel like it's a different skill set to do versus in person. I don't know because I've been social online since fucking forever, okay? Pop open a BBS and say hi, you know? Like, I open IRC and just be like, what up, guys? You know, years ago. I don't really know other than, like, just keep talking, just keep trying. I think it's just a skill you grind. Join the Discord and talk to the geegoids. You know? Talk to the geegoids, but you know. It's a BBS and IRC. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You're typing it right now, though, in IRC. Do you park with the car looking out or in? I always like to park the car looking out, personally. I always like to back into the space. But it depends. If you need to put a bunch of shit in the trunk, maybe not. But I love to park a bit further. Or if I'm, you know, we have a lot of parking decks, so I tend to go up the parking deck where there are fewer cars. And if you're in a parking deck, you should like always park front out if you can. You really should. There aren't really spots where you can pull through on a lot of those, like you're saying, but do you ever road rage? No. I actually get really uncomfortable when I'm in a car with someone and they have road rage, because I'm like, what's your fucking problem? And I know some people, like, it's just a little involuntary. It just frustrates them. But when someone's like, what the fuck is this guy doing? And they're just getting worked up. I'm like, what? Chill the fuck out, man. You know? It just makes me like judge them, which I wish I didn't, but truly I just become judgmental, and I'm like, if you're like this, then you're probably like this with other things. You know, not expressing it calmly, like, but I mean, like, when people actually get like worked up, they're like, oh, you know, and they're like sighing and they're like, oh, come on, and they can't just calm down. It makes me worry that maybe they're like that in other situations, which is usually true. Not always, but usually true. And I'll feel like a little judgmental thinking that, but then I also see it 9 times out of 10 be true. So I go, well, is that really like bad judgmental, or is that just like, you know, like statistically, this is probably true, you know? I don't know. But I also just avoid driving. Like, I try to walk everywhere. It's better for me. I just can walk everywhere anyway. The only time I drive is really if I have to like haul stuff around. And even then, you know, a lot of us in the city have those little carts that we roll around, you know, for your groceries, and like the tiny cart that's like, you know, tall, not wide, stuff like that. So not really too much of a need for that. Anyway, now that we've done a full hour of podcasting, I really wanted to test it and just see what happens. Seemingly no one cared. Seemingly nobody cared. Hello. We just keep talking about the same shit, but I messaged someone earlier and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna stay on that screen for an hour today and see see what happens. No one cared, dude. Oh, I cared. Well, you didn't say anything. Any tips on being disciplined? No. No. It's a skill like anything else. It's an experience bar. Practicing being disciplined means you'll get better at it. If you say, oh, I'm just lazy, and you resign yourself to being that, and you don't actively try to do better, you will never get better. That's all. You're doomed, you know? Like, it's just a practice, and like what you put in, you're going to get out kind of thing. That's it. You know? It's all you can do. All you can do. Kind of fuck that the best advice is just do it. It is in a lot of situations too, and like, I wish I could give you great tips or anything, but it's one of those things that you just can't give advice. Like, people just have to do it. It's literally it. Yeah, get rid of everything that distracts you. Live in a gray box with no furniture, nothing, no distractions, and and just lock in, dude. I don't know. So discipline's a lie. Force yourself to do a thing until it becomes a habit. What do you think discipline is? Read that back to yourself and reflect. Read that back to yourself. Motivation's a lie, I think is what you mean, which is what I always say. Motivation isn't real. It's more of like a passing whim, but it's not like a miracle fixer kind of thing. But discipline is real, and it's what you just defined. That one. Yeah, that's the one that you mean. Is like the motivation thing where people are like, I'm just not motivated. I'm just missing. I'm just waiting for my motivation. I'm like, you're not helping yourself, you know? You're not. When you do that, when you wait for motivation, you train yourself to only do things when you really want to do them. And it makes you worse. It just makes you worse over time. It makes you worse at that. Straight up. So, don't wait for that. Don't do it. You get frustrated with friends who get stuck on needing motivation. How do you help them? I feel like you can't help them. When a friend is like, I'll give an example. One thing that has stopped so many GEEGA chat episodes from happening is I set up a date with someone, this day, this time. We're going to film this video. Okay, they wake up that day. Hey, I'm like a little sick, but mostly something, not really feeling it. I don't know if I'll be able to like perform. So let's do this another day. Okay. Let's try next week. Same day, same time. All right. Now we're a week behind, right? Next week happens. Hey, I'm just not really like feeling like anything that isn't their own stream, you know? It's like I kid you not, like 15 different people have done this over and over and over. And I'm like, okay. And a lot of people will say like, I just need a day where I feel really motivated to sit down and film something. And I guess it's because they're streamers, so they're not ever in habit of sitting there and filming stuff. Like they don't do that. But it's not hard. I set up everything. They just have to sit in a call with me. Record yourself on OBS with a green screen, you know? But it's like people genuinely tell me all the time that they're just waiting for a good day. And then that day never comes. It never comes. And I'm like, well, all right. I'll be here. You know, I'll be here. It's absolutely work-life balance and things like that are fucked up with a lot of streamers. But, yeah, I think about that and I'm like, what if you said this at like work, at a normal job? You know? And they were like, hey, we need this thing done today. And you're like, I just need to wait for a good moment and it's not coming today, so maybe tomorrow. They'd be like, what the fuck? You know? There's a lot of that. But, you know, streamers get used to being able to do that. No one could tell them no. You don't get fired over that when you're a streamer, you know? So like, yeah, right. You said too tired to do a thing, then do it tired. Exactly. That's what I'm saying, right? I knew I was going to have sleep issues. I could feel it coming last weekend. So you know what I did? I said, fuck it. Okay, I feel good today. I'm going to do a really long stream so that there are enough VOD hours to go for like 2 streams additional beyond this. And then I still streamed on alt the next day anyway, right? Let me get those hours out there so people have stuff to watch. So if I'm not live one day, if I know I have bad sleep and I'm cooked, it's there, right? And I'm like, I keep thinking to myself, like, this is what you should do. This is normal. But then I look around and no one else does that. And I'm like, am I stupid for doing this? Like, but I don't, it's whatever, you know, it's whatever. But I think a lot of folks don't, treat this like a 9-to-5 properly, you know? They really don't. Some of them probably never had a real job. No. A lot of them actually did that do this stuff. It's just that they have been a streamer for a while and haven't had to be accountable for a while, so they just aren't anymore. You just kind of lose, like, that kind of stuff. If you don't use it, you lose it kind of moment. Am I stupid for doing the smart thing? I don't think it's necessarily the smart thing. I think it's more like, to me, it feels like the right thing. I think the smart thing is to take more breaks, you know, just hang out more, spend more time on like some other fun little side projects that might make passive income. You know, some of the streamers that are doing the best only stream for like 3-4 hours 3 times a week. Genuinely, there are people that just do that. And then I look at myself and I'm like, there are absolutely diminishing returns when I do all these long hours. But it feels like the right thing and I just want to do it. So I just kind of do it, you know? So like it's outside of that. But if I were like trying to min-max, if I were treating it like that and I were trying to min-max, I would just do like a really packed content, you know, 3-4 hour stream 3 times a week and then focus on like YouTube content and sit with my editors for like 2 hours the other days or, you know, whatever, right? That's the smart thing to do. I don't get anything really for streaming Vintage Story for like 14 hours. I don't really get anything back from that. But you know, I do it because I'm like, well, I want them to have stuff to watch. Right? But I don't know. So during the shutdown, you turned into an absolute slug and it happened within a week? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. A lot of you think you're like, oh yeah, work a 9 to 5, you'd get fired if you were slacking. You know, I would never if I were a streamer. But then if you became a streamer, you probably would. You'd probably like almost definitely you'd fuck up. And you, so many of you would end up like that. Like it's just kind of the nature of how people get when things are a certain way, right? That's just how it works, man. Are you a routine person? Not really. Like, yes and no. I wake up and then I feed my cats because there's nothing you can do before that. They will annoy you. It's a blur from there. I have stuff scheduled in. I have meetings on certain days, whatever. That's more for their sake than for mine. I'm totally fine doing shit whenever. You know, someone's like, hey, I just need to get a meeting in this week. And I just message them on Tuesday at 11 and I go, yo, you down now? And they go, okay, all right. I'm fine doing that because I can keep track of what I need to get done within a time period and get it done. I don't know. I get kind of bored when things are too routine. I start to like crave change. So yeah, like I have routines, yes, but I'm not like, if my routine gets broken, I don't get upset. I'm like, oh, today's different. Ooh, you know, I don't really like worry about that. Said FML. Most streamers tell me to try self-employment as a software engineer. Can I have your opinion? What do you mean most streamers? Do you mean ones that were previously like engineers or fuck ass people that have never worked in tech? I think having an employer is really nice. Actually. Yeah, you can go self-employment route with that and have, you know, make your own hours, whatever, but there's so much work that's involved because you are now a business. You also now have to pay extra tax on every dollar you make. Yeah, the self-employment tax is, it's what, 12.5% on your yearly? Just added on, boom, slapped on top. So if you make money that feels similar to what you were making under an employer, you're not going to get all that. You're going to lose an extra huge chunk. Something I experienced as a streamer. You know, it's a lot. I will say there's a lot you then have to pay for yourself outside of just the taxes that are a lot. Yes, that's even with an LLC. If you are, someone pays it. If you don't pay it, then the business pays it. Then your LLC pays it. You still lose that money. 12.5%, what the fuck, that's huge. Yeah. Self-employment tax is enormous. So me, as a streamer, I have to pay that on my income. If I set up an LLC, my LLC still has to pay business taxes. So, you know, no matter what, that money comes out of somewhere. But if you are not your own employer, you don't own that LLC, you're not paying that money. That money's still technically coming out of money that came in for you, quote unquote, but like it's not in your equation, you know? So it's, I think the ease of having an employer is underrated. I think people will be like, ooh, do your own thing, run your own business. But I think it's really nice to have the security of not having to deal with any of that and having money just appear and you just do your job and you do what you're told. I think not everyone will want that, but I think that's nice. I've worked in both ways. Some people will still prefer self-employment no matter what, but you're going to have to do all the work of being a business, and it's so much more than you think. So you're going to realize you hate biz dev. You're going to realize you hate biz dev so much. But it's not a bad idea as an engineer because you can go to just like a random site like Upwork or something like that, right? And just throw yourself on there, resume, get work. It's really, it's not too bad like that. But even with that, you have to do so much messaging back and forth of people, you know, like talking to people about projects you want to take on, and then the project doesn't happen. And now you spent all this time doing biz dev, trying to talk to this person to get this project, and you don't get it. But you spent hours on this, and it's just unpaid work. It's going to make you feel really bad. It makes most people feel really bad. So I think having an employer is solid, personally. You'd rather deal with a boss than a client. I've been there. Okay, I've just been there, and I think both have their merits. But yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah, Speakman, you're saying self-employment tax is replacing the Social Security Medicare deductions that come out of a paycheck for you as a W-2 employee. Yep. And you pay the employer's part. Yep. It's a whole lot. It's not always worth it. It's not always worth it. This is another reason why I say, like, with streamers, I know it looks like some of them might make a good amount of money, but tax time comes around, we're all paying, well, I hope people are, we're all paying quarterly, and we get fucked when taxes come around. We get fucked. And there's a lot of stuff that as a streamer, you just, like, some stuff that you can deduct as a business expense, some stuff you can't, and it doesn't mean that you don't pay for that thing. It just means it's taken out of your income tax in the calculation, you know, or out of your income and your taxable income. So it's just kind of like, when you do these calculations, it saves you some money if you write it off, but it's not really, like, crazy. It doesn't offset the fact that you still have to pay that 12.5%. You know, it's crazy. It's insane, man. The donations for pack opening must kill on taxes. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really get those personally, so I don't really deal with it much. Would be smarter to do it quarterly if you're self-employed. Oh, yeah. No, if you're self-employed, always do it quarterly. Always. And then if anything was over or underreported, they'll just, you know, at the end of the year, you get a bill or you get a, you know, refund or whatever it is, and that fixes the number. But you should always do that personally. Then again, if you make kind of stupid money, there is a sweet spot where if you have some really good, like, investments and you put your money into investments and let them accrue interest rather than pay quarterly, there are some times where that might make sense, but I don't recommend it personally. I think you should still just pay quarterly, because there are penalties and things as well that can apply depending on what you do and how you do it. So just be careful. Just be careful. Anyway, TLDR for your question, get a job through an employer if you can. Honestly, that's my advice. Yeah, capital gains, I know. But yeah, I think go for the secure, easy option. I think with the way, like, the world is right now, go for the easy option. Give yourself the time to just clean your house, get shit done, spend time with family, straight up. Like, that's you gotta sit there and think about what's important to you. And if you're like, oh, I could make a little more, but I'd spend all this time doing all this business stuff. Do you have, like, anyone you'd like to spend time with ever, or would you like to play some more games or something? You know what I mean? Like, just consider that and go get a job through an employer, and they can handle all that shit. Yeah, the work-life balance is easier. It is. Was VShoja considered your employer? Was that an agency partnership thing? They were not our employers. No. The talents, for me, like, I was signed on as contractor. But it's like a couple things in one agreement. It's like, it's just a contract that has a bunch of different things in it. So it's not really, like, defined in one way. But it's, hey, when you do merchandise this way, we help you with it and we get this percentage. And you get this. And then if we get you a sponsorship, we take this percentage, you get the rest. And, you know, you're paid this way. And it's like a partnership agreement. It's like an IP licensing agreement. It's a lot of things kind of thrown in one. And a lot of things would basically be like 1099'd. But not all paperwork was even done correctly anyway, so you know. That was my big complaint, was after I was there for like a full year, I was like, hey, what the fuck is this? Why am I being given a spreadsheet and some vibes? Like, what? And not even a good spreadsheet. I was like, can I have this form? Can I have that form? God knows what was going on. Yeah, I was just like, I just want a spreadsheet itemizing everything in a 1099. That's all I care about. Let me just get that, but, it's a lot to ask, man. Huge ask, by the way. Huge ask. Would you ever want to join another org? Probably not. Not unless I, had stake in it or something, and even then, probably not. You got a public sector job and there's literally zero documentation on 100K project in the mainframe. Yeah, no, I think a lot of businesses are this sloppy. The difference is some of them, it becomes a problem, and some of them, it just gets brushed under the rug for a long time. This isn't really like a lot of stuff that was happening wasn't stuff that I saw and was like, how could this happen? This has never been done before. I was just like, oh, it's that. Ooh, So it was like surprised, but not surprised, There are a lot of companies that are held up with sticks and duct tape. The account was cranky 90s. I don't know. There were two people that were not C-level that were allegedly in finance as a department, and I never spoke to any of them, I don't think. Unless it's hard to know because sometimes people change usernames and things just normally, so I don't quite know. I don't think I spoke to any of them. I think one of them might have pinged them in a chat for something, and they were like, "Oh, let me get that for you," and that was it. Never verbally spoke to any of them. I don't know what the fuck they did, genuinely. Maybe one of them did a lot. I don't know. Just my shit was not right. so I was like, But yeah, I don't know. I'm surprised they were trying to go the VC funded startup round without even offering talents equity. You're surprised? I'm not. I asked really early on what the business model even was, really, and I said in a call, I said it like this. I said, hey, I'm no stranger to VCs, startups, this type of funding and how that goes. So I'm not scared if you tell me, that's you're just living off of this investment, but that's how it looks to me, right? I assume we're not super profitable. And they were like, yeah, right, because this was not a secret that was the model, And I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, does anyone have equity or anything? And they just wouldn't really discuss it, which I totally understand because I don't necessarily think you should always discuss that, especially with someone who's not actively signed. I was like, okay, that's fair. But it didn't seem like that was really much of an option. I think they just didn't want to have that discussion and open the door to that discussion of yeah, let's do this, or whatever. I did mention it early on, hey, if I'm going to do this, that, the other thing, that would be cool. And it was just not an option. And then it was something that was maybe a thought much later by someone who was brought in to maybe help fix some stuff a little bit. And they were throwing out ideas. It was never a thing that was planned, but they were just throwing out ideas, and they were like, here's A, B, and C, and looking at how things are going, what do you think about these? Some of it was what about changing these cuts to this? What about going this route with the business? One of them was mentioning something. It was a lot of stuff, but one of the bullet points was also maybe equity or something. There were so many ideas thrown out, and I was like, yeah, that one would be cool. Because the company is us, realistically, publicly, it is us. But I think only that one person was the one trying to maybe make that an option ever. I don't think that came from anywhere else, So I don't know. It was definitely a thought, but I don't know who is a thought with besides one person, But it was never, at least for me, an actual thing or anything. So, oh well. Oh well. So I always assumed there was equity and people didn't share that because of NDAs. What I can say is, to my knowledge, I don't know that anyone had any. I've never seen any confirmation or heard anyone say that they had any. I don't like any members. I mean, it could have been a thing with someone. I'm not sure. Maybe, but I never mentioned. And I have asked a few folks, and it was a no as far as I knew. So, yeah. But don't take that as gospel. That's the kind of stuff that I personally believe you shouldn't discuss that individually with everyone. You know, that's one of those things where I'm like, maybe not. Still going through stuff with them. Technically, yes, but most of it for me is said and done. There's not really much I can do at this point. There's not really much I can do. I think if I had like a bajillion dollars, it would be different. I'm not like a super high earner that can just throw money at this just off of like principle, you know? And there's so much information I don't have. I'm still just as in the dark as I was many months ago. There are like one or two things that have come to light to me that I know now or whatever, but like, you know, I feel very like, which I shouldn't, but I feel very third party to a lot of stuff because at the same time, like, you know, that everything was happening, everything was being done for me to not know information, right? Not just me, but everyone. I don't have any of the information I would need to do a lot of stuff that I would like to do, you know? So it's just kind of like, it'll just be in stasis. It'll just be in stasis. And I could maybe spend a lot of money to be like, hey, can we go maybe see if we can do this, do that? Can I get this information? Blah, blah, blah. But who has these things? Do these things, does this information still exist in record, or are these records gotten rid of? Were they ever kept? You know, with how sloppy stuff was, were these records ever kept? I don't know. What would be revealed in them? What do those records of different things even look like? I have no clue. I have no clue. And I'd have to spend so much money trying to see if I even could appeal to like find that stuff out. And I don't really think I have the money to do that personally. I'm not the one. I think as a person I might be the one, but like monetarily I'm not the one, you know? So it's just a rough situation where I'm kind of like, well, that's it for me. But there is small possibility reopened. Apparently, allegedly, there is intent for the company that was holding the merch to actually, yes, get paid, and for that merch, this physical stock to be released. There is apparently, allegedly, intent for that to happen. Now, anytime there is intent, the chance of it actually being acted upon is not super high. So I'm not going to sit there and be like, ooh, good chance this is happening, you know, or anything like that. But I have been assured that that is the intent. Okay, we'll see. We'll see. You know, I'm very, I'm very skeptical. Just because of historically how things have been, you know, we'll fucking see, man. But that is apparently the intent. And, you know, there's no bankruptcy filing, and there's no official closing notice for the company or anything like that. It's just there. It's just there. So it's possible. It's a non-zero chance, I guess. I don't know. We'll see. If it happens, that'd be nice. That was like the one thing I was trying to get. And I do have a piece of paper signed that says that I am to receive that. So, we'll see. We'll see. But, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that I really won't talk about regarding, like, how things have been going with all of that. But there's some stuff that's just really fucked, is what I'll say. Really fucked. That's put people in really bad positions and tied up a lot of people's hands. That I don't think they'll be able to legally talk about. No, don't say anything like that, because you're making people assume stuff. It's not that. It's not that. I promise it's not that. And I can't even describe it, because then I'd be like leading you toward it, you know what I mean? Like, but just there's some stuff that's gone on that I think is very, very fucked, that makes it so that a lot of people can't really act in the ways they want to. So, you know, it just is what it is. And I think most people are like, man, I just want to do my shit. You know, they're like, I just want to do my shit. I just want things to be closed out and to not have to continue to think about this, to worry about this, to be having meetings, updates, whatever. Like, you know, not that there is a lot of movement, but you know what I mean. I think a lot of people are just like exhausted. I guess exhausted is the best way to put it. Absolutely done with it, you know. So, wondering where the tax man would come in. I don't know. If shit isn't closed by the end of the year, that that is a factor, I guess. But, you know, you need to have, like, income to worry about that. I don't know. I mean, if you had $100 and you owed, I don't know, $80 of it to one of your talents, and 20 was for you to keep and pay for your employees, but you instead took $99 and paid it to your employees, you can claim that all as overhead and you made like no profit. As long as you didn't make more profit than that $100, which you didn't, I don't think you're really going to have to pay much in tax. You know, it's mostly, you know, but who knows? I don't know. I don't actually know like actual information on that. So I can't give you anything that's like tangible, or not that I even would if I had like real tangible info, you know, that'd be crazy. But I don't know. I just kind of sit here and I would be watching with great interest, you know. I just like sit here and watch, and I'll probably only know like 10% of what goes on or something. It is what it is, man. I don't know. But we'll see. It's something that I've been thinking about. Just like, I kind of didn't think about this stuff for a while. And I started thinking about it more because we're getting to the end of the year. You know? But we'll see. Or what do you mean V-Chains broken? Are people truly free? Yeah, I don't know anyone's situation. Well, not in anyone's. I know some people's situations, but so much stuff has been so like, oh, this is happening. Actually, it's not happening. Oh, we're going to do this. Actually, we're not doing this. We're not going to do that. Oh, no, now we are, you know, that it's like hard to track what is even going on with everyone else. Everyone's just got their own situation. And I don't know. There are a couple people I've checked in on, but you know, I'm just like, hey, if you need me, let me know. And that's it. Me personally, you know, my shit was closed out before all this even fully went down. So I've been gone. So I'm chilling, and I've been chilling. And I'm glad. You know? I'm glad. Glad you're able to mitigate the damage to yourself. I wasn't. Maybe I did a little. I don't know. If I look back, nah, I wasn't. It didn't really change anything. It was more like publicly it helped. Well, did it help? No, I think people beforehand were like, what's that about? Oh God, what's happening? I don't know if it would have made much of a difference if I left when I did versus leaving later, but I think at least legally I got closed out sooner. Well, not really that much sooner. Even when I said I was officially gone, we still didn't fully sign the exit agreement until much later. Even though I gave them months to work on that, you know, to get it done. And it should have taken like a week at most, but you know, it got done eventually, which is great. But yeah, I think the only thing that would have changed is if I was out before. No, I don't think anything would have changed, genuinely. As I'm thinking about it, if I got out earlier or got out later, I think like monetarily or like any of that stuff, I don't think anything would be different. I don't think anything would, just with the way stuff works on the back end, you know. Seems like no talent got out okay. Well, I don't know. I think, yeah, some definitely are worse off than others, for sure. I mean, I'm not gonna share numbers and stuff, but some people, like, I know they've been vague about it, but some people are dealing with like crazy levels of shit that they were owed and all of that. And it's like very, very, very significant for some of them. It all just depends on what they were holding for you, you know? Am I owed stuff? Absolutely. I did try to mitigate some. Didn't really work, but I unknowingly mitigated some beforehand by having them pay some artists for me that they did pay. So the good news is those invoices got paid. So even if I didn't receive that money in my hand, I would have received it and then given it to that artist either way. So there's some stuff, at least in paying some bills to artists and things, right? Like one model that got rigged, stuff like that. Like some of those things did get paid. So at least that's better than those going unpaid and then me being owed that money and then not getting it, right? So there's some of that stuff that like I was able to mitigate, but that doesn't include like anything else. You know what I mean? It's just some, but I'm like, well, at least I did that, but I didn't know at the time that that was like a thing, you know, or anything like that. No, it's not. It's not Smashy. It's like not. But yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I still can't believe the charity stuff. I still can't. I don't know. I like everything up until hearing about that felt like it was just incompetence, which is what I was leaving over, was incompetence more than anything. I was like, incompetence, lack of transparency, and some of the stuff with them not telling us about new members and things when I was like, this ain't a hard question. I want to know who's coming. Get them in the Discord more than like a week before they debut. Tell us the plans, make us part of the plans because we're the group. That's all I wanted, right? And that was apparently such a no-no or such a hard thing or whatever. It's still vague as to why literally every staff member was like, can't tell you. And I was like, what? Even when a lot of them knew, you know? And I was just like, I don't get this. But it still looked like incompetence up until that point. And then I was like, now this is getting weird. But it just looked weird, right? So spending time trying to figure out what's going on. And then I heard a back-end rumor about like something related to charity, very vaguely. Someone said something somewhere and it hit my ears. And I was like, what? What do you mean? Never heard of this. And I brought it up to like one or two other people. I was like, have you ever heard this? And I was like, what? And then sometime later, not that long later, then Mouse is like, here's the thing, right? Like, and like confirmed and figured that out. And we were like, oh my God. That's when I was like, same time as all of you guys, that's when I was like, wow, that's crazy that it's actually like that, you know? But yeah, up until that point, some stuff was very weird that I was already leaving over like well beforehand. But most of the other stuff just looked like incompetence and I didn't even have confirmation on what it was. So I was just like, I hate that this is all so vague, and it made it harder to like decide what to do. Because how do you just make such a big decision as like leaving a group when you don't even know exactly what you're leaving over? You know what I mean? Like I was certain of certain things, but I didn't know the numbers. I didn't know if anyone else was paid or not. That's not something that I asked them realistically. You know what I mean? Like just all of this stuff. I'm like, I don't know. But yeah, weird situation, man. 5 space leaving. Yeah, that's why it didn't like feel right exactly, but also it did about the other stuff that I was like sure of that I was leaving over. So I was like, you know what? Whatever the other stuff is, whatever the truth of all of that is, I don't even care if I know or not, because this other stuff is enough for me to be like, nah, you know, nah. It's insane to think that's when everyone learned. Yeah, literally. And the thing is, to this day, you know, I know that's when talent knew. In staff, I do not know who knew what and at what point. I do not know who knew what thing and how early they knew. I do know some people that were like, oh, this is so crazy. How could this happen? Absolutely were aware that shit was really cooked much earlier based off of a lot of other stuff that I knew. So I'm like, you know, side eye. Like, yeah, what? So, that's all a bit weird. It's all a bit weird. I'm just talking about like normal ass staff too. No one's special, no talents, just normal ass staff. Some of them being like extra sad. You know, comments like the year before being like, I wonder if I'm gonna have a job next year, and being like sad posting about it, you know, to like their friends. I'm like, what? And then hearing other things relating to that and going, right? But I still don't know, like, you know, I have no way to confirm who exactly knows what. But that's why, like, even if I really like some people, I'm just gonna be like keeping to myself with all that. You know what I mean? Working with my own people, because I just don't know. I wish I could know, but I don't. And everyone has definitely a vested interest in keeping themselves safe, which I don't blame them for doing. So, you know, I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I won't ask. There's no point, because everyone's just gonna be like, I didn't know anything, you know. Yeah, you said I get annoyed trying to figure out what's incompetence and what is sinister intent. Yeah, and it's so hard because you want to give people the benefit of the doubt where you can, right? You really want to give the benefit of the doubt. Who knew what when is likely the basis of who is and is not in some degree of peril, and thus is difficult to discern. Yeah, like you know, it could be as simple as like, oh, I didn't say anything, not because I was in on it, but because like I would lose my job. Or I knew things weren't good, but I didn't know specifics. I didn't know how bad, right? Like there's so many like gray area, nuanced little things. So I don't want to like judge. I'll just go, But there's no way for me to know the little nuances of every little thing. And I frankly don't care at this point. I'm just like, well, I just step back, you know? I have my team and they're great. They're wonderful, you know? So like, so I'll be good. And I know who was good to me and who was nice to me and who I liked working with and all that. And, you know, that's just how it is. Yeah, detective, right? Stuff like that, right? Like, the other thing is, how does one of them say something to a talent when they have no proof of it? And a lot of people were hearing conflicting info too. So like, if I heard this thing happened, I might also hear from someone else, oh no, it didn't because XYZ. And now I have no clue what's true and where it came from, right? So it's like, you know, that's really, everything was very convoluted and you know, shady, like hard to tell what the fuck's going on. So yeah, so much of it was hearsay, exactly. And a lot of things did turn out to be true or partially true. There are a lot of things that I thought were true, but I had no proof. So I was like, I can't, you know, go repeating this as gospel or anything. But then, you know, later I learned the truth of it, and a good amount of it was, you know, it was true. But you can't like pull the plug and do like crazy big decisions off of something that you're just not sure of, right? So I don't know. I tried to give everything a very fair evaluation, a very fair shot, and a good amount of time to like, you know, I basically gave an ultimatum at some point, said you have this amount of time to answer these questions and give me a roadmap of how you're going to fix these different things and the timeline you're going to do them on. Like problem, KPI, just figure out if it's solved, my solution I'm going to give, and my time frame. Those 4 columns, right? And I was like, you're going to give me that. And I was given that. And I looked at it and I went, this ain't sufficient. That was it, you know? That was really how that happened. So I don't know. Lack of transparency. Yeah, I think the thing that really like got me going from like thinking of incompetence to then being like, all right, now this shit's weird, was just them not telling us anything about new people. And it was so like, a lot of it was told after people got mad about it. It wasn't told because they wanted to tell us and thought on their own to do it, you know? And then I think we expressed, well, not everyone, I definitely did, and opened the floor for other people to express it. But I expressed very clearly that I had concerns over a lot of things with new people, and being like, here's why we can and cannot handle certain things, to my knowledge. Here's what you haven't delivered for us, where, you know, if you take in someone new, and you give them the same pitch you gave me, I'd be pissed. You know what I mean? Because I'd be like, that you don't do that, etc. So I was like, I'm still willing to sit here and like fix things if you're willing to work with me and fix things and get it to a good point, and then we explore adding new people in. I'd be really chill with that, you know? But we have to get to this point first. And a lot of it would still look like just incompetence, you know? So that's why I was very willing to talk about it. Because I think really like certain staff were on board with that. It's just that their hands were tied. They couldn't actually do anything, you know? But I was just like, yeah, I just want to know who. I just want to be a bigger part of what we're deciding here. If it's someone I don't like really know, I could get to know them earlier. I could be not public about it, you know, whatever, but I could help them out a lot. We could work on things. The group could plan stuff to make this person's debut go well, you know, because it's like, it's really hard to bring in a new talent and have people care. It's just really hard. And you have to be full effort on it. We can't just, you know, like they did with me and Alma, right? Like we're already known, her more than me especially, you know, and they just throw us in front of people and they go, look who we brought on. And everyone's like, yay. That's easy because we're already established. But what about people that aren't, you know? So I was like bringing that up and I was like, so I think it's important that we know. But, you know, I was also low-key just upset because I had talked to them for like a long time about how, I told them I didn't want to join. I never intended to join something that was a standard corpo, was going to bring in a lot of people. I was like, I just want to make content with my existing friends. And ideally, I'd be in something that's more like a standard content org that's like, you know, OTV, AMP, OTK, whatever you want to call it, right? Like that type of style of org where it's a group of friends and maybe some people come in and out, but it's like, you know, very honed in on a group. And I said, that's what I want to do. So when I was first talking to them about joining, I was like, one of the reasons I was really thinking of not joining is because you seem to intend to want to bring new people in. You've opened auditions before. And they said to me, no, what you want, we're very down with. Like, we want to do what you want to do. And they straight up made it sound like what I was saying was like, yeah, let's do it. So I was brought in under that pretext, thinking that was the vibe. And then they were just like, by the way, we're doing auditions again. And I was like, what? Right? Because that wasn't what I was thinking. And I was like, well, if that's what everyone wants, I'm not going to be like the wet blanket, but let's talk about how we do it because we got to be careful, right? Yeah, right. At the same time, they're saying to Zen, like, yeah, we're going to do auditions, you know? So I think there was like, I think certain staff were not aware that that's what I wanted and that's what I was being told by some people. And then, you know what I mean? I think it was a disconnect. So it's just weird. It was just weird. And then we did it and I was like, yo, can we get better PR? You know, whatever. That shit was what it was. It was a disaster. And then we were like barely a part of the selection process or anything, barely a part. And I was like, hey, I was promised like, yeah, we're going to do this, but we're going to make you a big part of this for everyone's comfort. Because not just me, like a lot of people were like, for our comfort, we want to be a big part of this. We don't want someone just thrown at us, you know, because people were the group was in like a rocky spot before I joined, you know, it was very like, it was scary because a lot of people just left, you know, and people were feeling very socially like closed in a little bit. And they were like, to be comfortable, I want a slow process here. And we're a big part of it. And we were told, yeah. And then it just was not that. So that was the stuff that really got me going from like, a lot of this is incompetence to now being like, okay, what's going on here? You know, like this is, I don't know. But yeah, I just felt really bad. Because all like the members were asking for was like, can we just have transparency? And we even in one call sat there, just I'd say about half of us sat there, and we're like, with gun. We were sitting there going, so we want this transparency for these reasons on the new members, okay? He's like, all right. And one member unmutes and goes, all right, well then tell us right now who's joining. Tell us right now. And he was silent. He was silent. And I was actually stunned. I was like, there's no way you're not opening your mouth. You know what I mean? He's just silent. I was like, what do you mean? It's not hard. And he was like, we're gonna, how about this? We're gonna have a meeting soon where we're gonna reveal the next 3. They did reveal to us like that there would be an idol group of 3 like a little before this. And we were just like, who, you know? And he was like, well, we'll have a call soon. And I was like, in my head, I'm like, you're only saying that because we asked this question right now. And you feel forced to tell us. Like, you were going to wait until 2 weeks before it was happening, probably, you know? At most a month before to tell us. And then they did have that call. And they did reveal who. And then I saw my friend in there. And I was like, what the fuck? You know? It's like, I was like really happy. If things were going well, I would have been like, yay, you know, but they weren't. And I was like, all right, you know. It was so weird. It was so weird. Did they think y'all would tell them about the red flags at a time? Maybe. I think maybe they assumed. I mean, it's still different for different staff because different staff were in the know about different things, right? So I think I think the upper level staff probably were afraid that we'd say like no to anything that wasn't our perfect situation or something, which isn't exactly at all actually. It wasn't what would happen really. We would all try to make it work, I think. But I think they were worried about like not having control personally. This is just my read on it. I think they wanted to choose people and they wanted to have control of it and they wanted to run it like other corpos, not like how they said they would run things, right? I think they just wanted to execute their plan, and they knew that we would have things to say and we would want to affect things like we clearly said. And I think the upper level people just didn't want that, and they couldn't say that. They couldn't say it. I think it would have been easier if they said we want to do this our way. But I think if they said that to us, they knew we would be like, fuck that, and we would be gone. You know what I mean? So I think they just kept things in stasis and dragged them along as much as they could because they had done it previously and it worked, right? And like, thank God Amma joined. But when they had Amma join, we found out like a week or 2 before or something, like not long before, a couple weeks, whatever the time frame was, less than a month, that there was a new member joining that none of us had heard about. And then they let us know literally the week before, by the way, it's Amelie. Now imagine if they did that with someone that none of us knew. That's so stressful. That's so stressful. Thank God it was someone that a lot of us were friends with and we loved and everything. But like that could have been terrible, you know, like especially for the person being brought in. What if we didn't know them and they had to just walk into like, you know, the lunchroom and try to figure out what table to sit at? And you know what I mean? Like it's just like what? Or what if it's someone that they brought in and we're like, oh my God, that's a bad idea because XYZ, because maybe we know how they work on the back end and we're like, oh, they don't work well in groups or something. It could not even that we maybe didn't like the person or something. It could have been like working with this person's hard. Something very simple, you know? And like, I think they just didn't want to hear any no's, so they wouldn't say anything. That's really what I think it was. Someone asked, did we know about the BCs? No. I had no clue. I legitimately didn't even know of some of them until I'd like heard one of their names before once, and I genuinely did not know them, which means that if they actually got added in and they did their usual system and we got told like a week or 2 before, they would have been like, here's someone you don't know, here you go, which is terrible on all sides to do it that way, right? Like no chance to get to know them, no chance to plan anything to help out. Small talents who would have needed that help that I couldn't have been able to give that to, really. You know what I mean? Like, that shit would have been weird. Yeah, it would have been awkward as fuck. Right? It's just unfair to everyone. Yeah, unfair to us and unfair to the newer people as well. I was just like, what this, it's a disservice to everybody. It was weird. It was just weird, you know? It's just cooked, fucked, awkward, bad for everyone involved, you know? I don't get it. But it's hard to figure out the motivation to do that other than they wanted control of it and they didn't want a chance that any of us could say no to anybody. And I don't think any of us would have said no to anyone individually. I think more so we were on the mindset of we can't do this in general. Like we can't bring anyone in right now. You know? Like it's just not in the cards in our opinions, right? And I think they knew that we would have just been like, no, what? Like, you can't. So, But the thing is, a lot of people are really nice, and we all would have been like, oh, we'll try to make it work, but and then you know, it just would have been a cooked situation. It just would have been cooked. I don't know, man. It was weird. Wonder why they were so afraid of not having so much control. Because realistically, if any of us ever publicly said anything, I think the public would have sided with us, right? If any of this was said publicly, like before everything went down, the whole community would have been like, what the fuck? Let them have a say. You know what I mean? Like, we have all the control on the public opinion side, really, on that kind of stuff. So they had to keep things quiet. Otherwise, they couldn't keep control of it, is my guess. You know, from their perspective, like, I see that. I get that, you know. Not that I think it's right, but, you know, existing talent have veto power over new talent? Not really. Look, it was so vague. It was so vague. What we had was we could give opinions. We were told that our opinions would be taken into account. So we were led to believe that if they tried to bring someone in that we had like a huge issue with, that it would be heavily considered. Not necessarily that we could just say no and it would just poof someone out of the running or anything like that. I don't think any of us ever thought we had that. But we thought we would be heavily considered. But over time, I realized that I just don't think our opinions mattered. We did have a moment where they did go through with me a lot of people, a lot of names from somewhere in the middle of the auditions, and said, here's a lot of people that we're considering. And they asked me to just like rate them 1 to 4. 1 being, I'd like literally leave if you bring this person in. 4 being, I love them, you have to. And then 2 being like a little negative but not bad. 3 being like a little positive, right? And they're like, it's a lot of names. It's a long list of names. So we're just going to do a quick rating system because they weren't like at the end yet or anything, right? Which I think was fine. It's fine to do it in a quick system like that early. And then you would also give notes if you had anything else to say beyond just giving a number, you know? You could say it. And they had a long list of names. And I know what a lot of people said to a lot of names on there, and I don't think a lot of the people that we were really positive toward, especially, like, we all give this person a 4, that person a 4, ended up being there later. But I think a lot of those people also probably just were talked to and said no. So I do think we were somewhat listened to on like the mid level there, you know? I think there were a lot of people that were just like, no, thank you. But there were also names there were so many names that I'd never heard of, which was good in that they were keeping to trying to like pull in smaller names like some of us had asked, you know? So there were a lot of names that I didn't know, but how am I supposed to rate a name that I don't know? They're like, you know, hey, what do you think about Poo Poo McChew? And I'm like, I don't know who that is. And they're like, okay. Well, at least give me the list and like let me go check people out or something, you know, like like I'd love to help in this process, but no, I had to like give an opinion on the spot. What am I gonna do? Google them quickly? Like I don't know. So such a like awkward way, but I also felt like it did kind of make sense midway. You could say, hey, no opinion, right? Like I don't know this person. It was just another option. But like, I don't know, it's just, that was the majority. That was it. That was our entire involvement. That was our entire level of involvement, was that midway questionnaire with a bunch of names. And we had to like give some thoughts, and then I don't know what happened to those thoughts after. I do think like our managers that were directly asking us probably did care about what we said, but I don't know how that was then used later, right? No clue. But it was just very like, we wanted like really big involvement later to really talk over the options, and it just, that was what happened. And then the next thing we knew, there was a call months whatever later where they're like, okay, we've decided to take 1 billion people within this year. And we're like, what? It was like a big number. And they were like, yeah, we're gonna start with 3. And we were like, I thought we were growing slowly. What? Like, it was just really weird. Like, we went from this long questionnaire of all these names to being, hey, we picked people. And we were like, what? I thought I was gonna get asked. And they were like, you were asked. And we're like, we had a list of like a bajillion more billion names that we gave a really informal rating system to. We didn't like discuss anything beyond that. What? That was why people were so upset with it in general, internally, you know? It just was not what they what they thought at all. It was pretty cooked. Did they not at least have a summary on the kind of content they made? No. They said, okay, name. And we were expected to say 1 to 4 or I don't know them. Okay, name. 1 to 4 or I don't know them. That's it. I also asked if I could be provided with the list afterwards so I could go look some of those people up because I was thinking we would get asked again later. So I wanted to familiarize myself, and I never got that list. I never got that list. And I was like, what? Which I get it, they were probably going to have a smaller list later, but that list never arrived to us or anything, you know? So we were like, yeah, it was all verbal. I was not screen shared a list. I was not, like, given anything written. They would just say it in a call, and I had to, like, try to give thoughts or a number or something. And that was all I had. That was my involvement on helping pick if we got Poo-Poo Machu in the group or not, you know? And I was like, you know, kind of insane when, like, you were told, yeah, you'll get to be a part of this. Like, there will be more transparency in the future, and you will have a say. We were told that was, like, our say, which was kind of crazy. Kind of crazy. I don't know. I was just like, what's happening? Yeah, like a Rorschach test. They're like, what do you think of this? I legitimately, I was like Googling names on the side. Sometimes when they would say one that I don't know, I would Google to be like, do I know this person? Maybe they look the same, but they change their name because that happens sometimes. And but even then, like, I didn't catch all of them. I don't know. It was awkward. It was awkward. I think it was a good way of doing it, like midway. I don't think there was anything wrong with that system. It was just the fact that there was nothing after that was like a problem, you know? Because when you do have a big list of names, you kind of got to go through it like that, you know? And it was the first time we were asked about any list at all, you know? So I was like, I wasn't mad about that. But, because it does have to be kind of like, you know, just formal and structured like that. But later, I don't know. When there's nothing after, that's weird. Nothing but a call where they're like, by the way, we picked people. I also, when they said that, I was like, are they signed? And they wouldn't tell us. Because I think they could tell I was pissed. I think they could tell if they said yes, I would have been very, very upset. So they just wouldn't answer it. They wouldn't say. And I was like, what the fuck is going on, dude? What? I don't know. It was odd. Have you seen one of the names pop off on their own afterwards? I genuinely don't even remember the names. This was so long ago. I genuinely don't remember. Which is the problem, because I didn't think I had to write it down or remember at the time, because I was pretty sure they were going to come back with at least like another list. Similar thing, more in depth this time though, or something to narrow down, right? Never happened. So I didn't sit there and like write all the names as they were saying it, because I actually thought like I would just get provided this or we'd have another round later. You know, because it was a lot. It was a lot of names. It was definitely not like the last round or something crazy like that, you know? But it was weird. It was weird. First round, then narrowed down. A second round with even more in-depth list, at least. Yeah, no, I thought it was going to be like real discussions later, too. That was the other thing. Everything was like our managers would get handed a thing to then ask us. But I wanted group discussions, right? I wanted us to like sit in a circle, especially when things got like further along, and just discuss it, talk it over. And that way, like, I can, because I wanted to be sure that everyone felt as good or whatever about everything as I did when we kind of like vote well on someone or something like that, you know? Maybe someone's perspective is different from mine. So you get in a call and you talk about it, right? It just makes sense. But there were like no plans to do that. No plans to do anything in a group setting. So I could have, like, if a friend of mine is on there that they don't know, like, let's use Phoebe as an example, because I don't think they all really knew Phoebe beforehand, right? But I knew her. So, of course, when they say Phoebe, I'm like, oh, my God, yes. 4 out of 4, you know, like perfect. You should take her. Hard worker. She's incredible. If you want someone who's going to be talented, working, blah, 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 you should take her, right? But if my friends go, I don't know who that is, I could, like, pitch her, you know? I could be like, hey, no, I actually something. So I wanted more group discussions because we could do that, you know? But, yeah, I don't know. How many people was a lot of people they want to add in a year? I think at this point they would all be revealed except for a couple, but I don't know which ones fell through or which ones weren't even like actual individuals on their radar versus like a number of slots that they wanted to fill. I wasn't sure. I'm not sure of that. So I want to say it was like around 10 or fewer. I know we know now of 6 names that were definitely like signed and were supposed to be in. I believe there were more that they were going to discuss with or did, but I have no idea if they actually did or, oh yeah, 7 now, yeah. But I have no idea if those were actual people or if it was just intent to fill up to a number. You know what I mean? I don't know. And so I don't know that there are actually like more people than that. I don't think so, but I think they intended to add more. I think they did. And we all thought that that was like a crazy number to add in a year. They wanted to do it within this calendar year, they told us. And we were like, hey, that's tough because that's about as many people as we have like currently streaming. That's huge and would change the vibe so much. You should probably drip feed. Like even if you want to eventually get there, you should probably drip feed and not slam everyone, throw everyone at the same brick wall, you know, within a year. Especially if a lot of them are smaller, like everyone needs their limelight, right? But they were like, we're going to do this. It was weird. I'm sure there were like reasonings and plans and things for this, but not stuff I was privy to. I don't know. I think they just wanted to go the standard corporal route at some point and realize like, wow, this is the only way we can make money. And they were going to do that. I think that's probably what it was, but I have no like proof of that. You know what I mean? That's just what I think. That's my opinion. But I think they just realized at some point we have to do this if we're going to sustain like all the staff we've got and all this shit. And that's what I was kind of thinking. And then I was like, wow, don't do that to people. So I left, you know. I was like, what the fuck? I don't know. Take the lessons learned, create GEEGA Shoujo so you can buy Bugatti. Dude. It'd be so easy. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. So I can't even buy one talent's merch. They tried to double the whole talent number. That's the thing. I was like, you know, we have a fan base, but they're kind of like our individual fan bases with a lot of crossover. We don't have a lot of a fan base that just like sees new member will 100% definitely watch new member. We don't have like a crazy amount of that. I don't think we have enough of that where all those people can buy everyone's merch and like, I don't think adding more people is going to rake in money or anything. I think you're just going to split people's wallets out between different people because we can't. I was just like, I don't think we want to ever go the route of trying to bleed our people dry. That's kind of crazy. You know, they're just going to be like, well, this is my Oshin. I'm going to buy their stuff and I'm not going to go crazy with it. Like they're going to be reasonable, you know? Not many people are going to be like, I have to collect them all, you know? So it's like, I don't think this actually makes money for you guys either. And they're smaller talents. So, you know, if people feel the need to prioritize who they're watching at what times and stuff, like those people might get fucked, you know? So I was like, I don't know what we're doing. I was just confused. And I was like, I can't see any good reasoning for this. I can't, right? I don't know. It was weird. And I was fine with like bringing in small people occasionally, but I was like, we need bigger resources. And I was saying, you know, we need a bigger presence. Like, who cares about the group? We have our existing fan base that does, but we don't really have like super wide reach, you know? Like, are we gaining more fans? We're kind of not. We're just kind of chilling where we are, you know? We really weren't like, as a group, showing any growth. We were just chilling. I think 1 or 2 people might have been growing a bit, but, you know, we're just where we were. So I was like, if we're not actively growing, it's hard to add new people in that don't already have their own fan base. You know, it's either people are going to split off to them, which, you know, I was kind of like down for that, honestly, because I see it as like a rising tide lifts all boats kind of thing, you know? And I was like, if you add 4 new people and fewer people watch me to watch them, but now we can all make content together and we can all grow together, I don't really see that as like a huge problem. But we got to do shit. right? We get to do shit together and we have to have plans to grow together. But I was like, we don't even use our YouTube channel right now very much, you know? So I was like, so I don't think that's going to happen. I think the first half of that would happen maybe, but then the latter half of Let's Grow Together, it would be really hard to make happen because we didn't even like do like the company, and I didn't really like do group shit. So I was like, what are we, do we have plans to make this work? Yeah, our YouTube was dead. We stopped posting shorts like many months before I left. Maybe like 5 months before I left, because they just didn't want to pay for shorts anymore. They didn't tell me it was that until way later, but yeah, they stopped. They were like, the shorts aren't that effective. I think it was just a budget thing. But they stopped posting shorts. We didn't really have long form videos. So I was like, what are we going to do to grow, man? How, like how am I going to help them grow? I can throw some of my people at them to watch them, and then that's the most I can really do. Like, my hands are tied from there, you know? Like, you guys got to do something, but I don't know. I would have felt much better about it going okay if, like, we had a really good, strong media presence and we're, like, posting a lot of content actively and growing as a group. Then I would have been like, yeah, let's bring some people along with that, you know? Bishosh's YouTube channel was so dead. And that was my main project, was I wanted to do so much YouTube content and grow that. I was like, this is our biggest pain point right now, is that we don't have anything going out there. Everyone has their own individual channels, and only some of us really actively use them, and they're pretty much all just highlight channels, you know? So I was like, we need to make stuff for YouTube as a group. And I showed them all these other groups that do this, all these other YouTubers that do this, and I was like, this is tried and true, and it would be fun, and we could do it together. It's a great way for people who don't stream at the same time to do shit, you know? And I was showing so many examples, and everyone was like, yeah, I'd like to do that, and then planned so much of it, even recorded a bunch of stuff, and it just didn't happen. It just didn't happen. And I was like, fuck, you do you care about this? Because I think this is kind of dire, you know? I was kind of like, okay, well, I guess no one cares. Right. That was where I was like, I think they actually don't care, or they don't know what they're doing, was that, right? I don't know. I thought posting the songs in the channel was a bit hit and miss. Benefit the channel, but it sucked for traction. I think it was fine to post if we had other stuff often going out, but we didn't. So I was like, I don't know, it was weird. It was also really uneven with shorts, and like who got posted was another thing that I brought up. And I was like, hey, you know, some people get posted a million times more than others. And I understand it's like, some people might just have more clippable content. I think that's fine. But there's certain people who don't get posted as often, but every time you do post them, it does really well. So maybe put more effort. Simple. Just flag this to editors and say, hey, when this person streams, can you pull more of their content to try and put into shorts? It does well. You know, whatever. But, you know, maybe they don't stream as often. So you need to like pull more out of each stream or something like that, you know? But they just did it on vibes. They just be like, someone streamed, I checked, maybe I took a clip. I think they also only pulled clips from like stuff that was reposted elsewhere. They didn't do the work of like sitting there and watching us and really like pulling stuff, you know? Or maybe they did, but only with those couple of people that got pulled more. I don't know. I'm not sure. But I always thought that was odd. And I was like, you know, you really got to promote the group. But, nah, no effort on that. I think a lot of it came down to also just not putting budget into that, you know? I think I only ever saw like 2 clips of you on there. There were some of me when I first joined, and for the most part, my shorts did really well. But when they stopped posting, there was months of nothing of me posted. Months of 0 clips. And I brought it up. I only noticed it because it was me. I wouldn't have noticed it if they didn't post anyone else, because I wasn't like caring about the shorts too much. But one of my editors brought it up, and they were like, hey, I noticed like I keep getting shorts from the channel, you know, with these people, but they never post you. And I was like, really? And I looked, and I went back, and we sat there, me and my editor, and we like counted, and I was like, oh my God, yeah, they haven't posted me for months. So I asked, and they were just like, oh, I don't know. And I was like, I don't need you to post me often, but like, what is, I don't know, right? I don't know. I was like, what do you mean? Because if it's something like, you know, we don't have anyone actively watching you, can your editor send stuff over? I could do that. You know what I mean? I was like, what's trying to identify the issue to help, but it was just like, I don't know. It was weird. I don't know, it was odd. So I vaguely remember Henya mentioning to chat she was asked to make a video for the channel, and she mentioned one teaching Japanese words. Did she? Oh, it might have been was it a short? Actually, I know what it was. I had a thing. I was like, we need to get videos on here, but you guys aren't paying for production staff for us or anything like that. So, and you guys aren't like doing anything crazy with us. So my plan was I was scheduling out. Each member was going to have a different month. Each member is going to have a different month. And that was your month. And you know, like the year out that's your month. And you're going to make a video, a long form video, and it's your responsibility to do it. And everyone's going to basically donate one video to the channel. And we essentially had like 12 really active people. This was before Nova came in too, you know, and I was like, let's do this. People who are less savvy with just making a random ass YouTube video and don't know what to do, put you later. And I was gonna help as production staff for every single person if they needed it. And I was like, let's each make a video and put that up there. And there we go. Now we have a monthly video. It's going. You only have to do one for the entire year as an individual member. So it's not a big ask per person. Ta-da, right? And so people were working on stuff. And they ended up putting it on their own channels. You know, I did for like the Nova video, for example, when it was just clear that like we were getting zero assistance. Other than, I will say, my manager was sitting there trying to organize calls for me and everything so we could sit down and talk about this stuff. But I was like, why is this like 100% on talent? Like initially I was told I would be helping organize it a little bit, but like most of the work would not have to be done by me. But then it turned into like I was doing like 100% of it, like outside of making the videos. And even then I was helping people with it. So I was like, what is happening here? Like, can we get like one person's time? Any staff member, one person's time? I don't know. Yeah, it was just weird. But that's what my Nova video was. The one where I like interview Nova. That was filmed before they were brought into the group. And I was like, I think I want to do my video as one of the first ones. And it'd be so fun to get the new members and introduce them to like our English speaking audience. So I want to make a video where I interview them and we have a translator and, you know, we do the whole thing. And it was really fun to make. And I really wanted to do something like that. Like every other month I was willing to do something, you know, but I paid for all of it. I think the only thing was that the person who was acting as translator donated their time. I didn't pay them for that. That was the only like bit of help I got, right? Which was very helpful. But then outside of that, I had my own editor do the translating of what the girls said. So I also paid for all of the translation, not the live while I'm talking to them translation, but all the like editing related and later translation. So all of the production costs from there on was just all me. And I was like, fuck, I'm putting this on my channel. You know, I was like supposed to donate to them, but so much time had passed while we were working on it. It took a lot of time because I had to get someone to, you know, translate. And that when you have hours of footage that you have to translate and then you can edit it, you know, like it takes a lot of time. So we worked on that. And then Bark, once it was translated, he sat there and edited it down and we had a good video. And I was like, at that point, you know, things had gotten like kind of weird. So I was like, fuck it, I'm putting it on my channel. This is mine, you know? And a lot of other people had dropped working on the content stuff because everyone else was also in the same boat of like, what's going on here, you know? So I don't know. Kuro had one that he posted on his channel, which was like, I think it was a video he did with his mom. Did he post on, I think he posted on his YouTube channel. And it was him like asking her something. Originally, that was one of those ones where we were thinking about maybe like doing that type of content for the main channel. But he took the idea and just did it on his own channel for the same reasons as me, you know. But we had a whole plan to like try and revive it. You know, get SEO going and shit. But I don't know. Hi, Nookie. Hello, Nookie. But things go the way they go, man. They go the way they go. Yeah, he's back. He was sleeping on me all night, directly on top of me. Not even leaning on the bed, just 100% on top of me. There are like 5 long-form videos with you in it since you joined on that channel. Yep. And it was crazy because any content that I made when I joined did really well. Any of the stuff that I posted that was like about the group and me joining it and interviewing members from it and stuff like that did so well. And I was like, guys, you got to keep momentum, because you could do something that does really well and then you don't post for 2 months and now you've lost all of your momentum. So I was like, hey, this shit's doing well. We should do this on our channel. Let's like go for it. It would be great. It'd be fun. I'll help. I was like so willing, you know? I don't know, man. People love seeing people doing things with their group. Yeah. Like, what's the point of a group if you're not highlighting when you do stuff together and like throwing that everywhere and being like, look at the thing we did, you know? Even if it was as simple as we did a game collab, which I feel like we did a good amount of too. We didn't do like you know, every other day like some groups do. You know, you look at a lot of like Western streaming groups especially, and they're literally on each other's streams all the time. I think that's easier when you live like right next to each other and you do a lot of like chatting and IRL content, obviously. But still, like they're playing games with each other. Look at like, I think a good example is OTV in the like Among Us era. Nowadays they do more of their own stuff, but when they were popping off and they're playing like Among Us every day, they're literally in lobbies together every day with little subsets of them or the whole group, right? And I was like, that's the only way that like group shit works, is when you do things together often. And yeah, like we played a lot of Lethal when Lethal Company came out. We played a lot of it together. And everyone was having so much fun playing it, and the community was having so much fun. And they really enjoyed that. Charity Baton Pass event, yeah. My idea, by the way, I was like, hey, a lot of us are really into charity, but we have certain individual members do a charity stream, and then all we as other members can really do is watch it, and if anything, not stream during it and direct our people toward it. And that's like all we can really do, and then kind of show up for collabs or something. But I was like, we should make this feel like more of an event, and we should do something. I actually wanted to do a week-long charity subathon. And I wanted it, or donathon or whatever it is. I wanted to do that relay idea, but I wanted to do it over the course of a week. And I wanted everyone to take like an 8-hour block and then, you know, roll into the next person. So you'd have like shift 1, 2, and 3, you know, like each 8-hour chunk. And we'd each take those and schedule out the entire week. And some people might have a few, depending on how much they want to stream. And we'd try to keep it going, and we'd collab the whole week. And that's what I wanted to do. I even initially was pitching it as like a 12 days of Christmas thing, because we like to do a lot of end of year charity. And then it was like kind of a big ask, because as we kept getting closer to it, nothing was planned. I kept talking about it and everyone was on board, but like we weren't getting much assistance in making it happen. So I said, okay, I'm going to make it happen, but like, let's just do it as a weekend thing, you know? And then, and that's where I pulled in like my own manager. He was sitting down and really helping with that. Him and like one other person were sitting down and like actually putting it together, which was helpful. And then it got across the finish line, and we did it. And I was glad we did. But yeah, I really liked doing that. That was the kind of stuff I wanted us to do. And I was like, yo, we should be doing something like this monthly, like an event thing. I don't know. And I know. It was fun though. It was fun. Yeah, the Minecraft server was good. I think for me, it ran like shit, and I would literally get motion sick when playing it. I was taking it easy because I was like, oh, I'll have so much time to play on the server. I'll have so much time to build. We're going to have the server open for so many months, maybe even a year, maybe years. You know, that was going to be like the forever server. And then because of, you know, just mods and people building a lot in the middle, I was like, I can't play in this area. I get sick. And I told people, I was like, I want to play with you. I will fucking get sick. I can't. It's like the frame rate was kind of shitty, you know, it was a little choppy. And I was like, I can't do this. It's killing me. And so I just was like, you know, I don't want to ruin anyone's fun. Because then what I started doing was, I was like building, I like went way out and I had my own area, like really far out that I started building in. And I wasn't streaming, and I was just like over there. And I was like, but this isn't fun. Like I want to play with people. But then every time I'd go over to the chunks where we were, like it just ran like shit. I was like, okay, I can't. Server lacked a mayor. I should have been more like, yeah, I should have been more forthcoming with what we should have done. I should have been more bossy and just straight up been like, we got to do this, we got to do that, we got to remove this mod, you know, whatever. But I don't know, people were having fun with it, so I just wanted them to have fun. I didn't want to take shit away. But also, a lot of friends that weren't in the group were added, and it didn't feel anymore like it was like necessarily our server, like for us only or anything. So I really didn't want to be bossy there and start like changing the mod pack and doing all this stuff, you know, because I was like, it's not like our little thing, you know. So yeah, I didn't want to like jump in and do anything crazy. But it was really fun early on, yeah, with like Henya and the potatoes, me, Henya, and Zen. That was really fun. That was great. So how long was we should not pull through from what I heard? On what? On what? When friends invite friends to the camping trip. Yeah, I kind of always felt like an asshole, but I genuinely like wanted us to do a lot more stuff that was group only, because I felt like a lot of our community felt like that was special and wanted that. But I felt like we invited friends to literally everything. But at the same time, I liked our friends, so I wouldn't be like, no, you can't, you know, because like they're friends, you know, like I'm not gonna do that, you know. So instead, I was just trying to create more stuff here and there that would be just us, because like there was a big calling for it. People really wanted that. They kept asking for that, you know. And I didn't want to like continually change it up and be like, oh yeah, let's do group stuff, and then keep adding people to it. But I don't know. I thought it was good like that the Minecraft server is open, for example, because when you only have, I don't know, like 6 to 8 people that are going to regularly play it, probably more like 4 of us that would actively play it, it's just not enough, you know. Like we just didn't have enough people, so like Minecraft made a lot of sense. I don't know. Anyway. You watched that a bit. A lot of people watched a lot of the Minecraft stuff. I don't know. I wish I could have played more. It was just so fucking... It was so choppy for me. It was so bad. And it was... I really, like, in hindsight, I really should have just been like, hey, we're ripping these mods out, like these few that are doing it. But it was very lax, and people could just type in this one Discord, hey, can I have this mod? And it would just get added. That was the process. So tons of people were just constantly being like, I want this added. Okay, boom, it's turned on, you know? So it was like, it ramped up really quick how much shit was on the server. But it got a little crazy. That's why I'm trying to do more event-based servers, so I can invite a lot of people to a thing, but keep it short. And it's hard for people to get to the point where they start lagging it out too much, because it's not there for 3 months, you know what I mean? So it'll be nice. That's still taking forever, but I'm excited to do it when it's done. Hold on, skipping this Kanye song. Get out of here. Ooh, Do for Love by Tupac. Ooh, there we go. Super hard to gather people sometimes. Yeah, it's really easy to do something and gather a lot of people. It's really hard to gather a specific set of people multiple times. That is just really hard to do with a lot of streamers. So like, there was a lot that I think we just could never have done with the group that we had, you know, because if I said, hey guys, I want to do a Valheim server and I want us to all get on, not every member, but every member who said, yes, I want to do this. I want us, you know, to all get on twice a week, same time, for 4 hours. That would never have happened. You know, that shit would never have happened. Because like everyone that we had was just not really the type to like schedule like that, you know? And so I wanted to do stuff like that. That was what I wanted, but I was like, this is going to be impossible. That's why I was suggesting the YouTube stuff. I was like, people just need to show up to like a recording session here and there, and we can push things out, and they don't even all have to record together with some of the ideas I was pushing. And I thought it was really doable. What's the timeline on the Vintage Story server? We don't have a timeline. That one was purely Vibespace, the one that me and Boone set up. Mostly Boone. I threw mods at him. He threw mods in. He set up Discord, made a server, and we just started playing That's it. And it's very lax. I keep telling him he's added way too many people to the server. But at the same time, I think it's handling it well. I think we just need to encourage people to make their own little communes, because what's happening is, like, I keep trying to complain about it in RP to see if I can get people to genuinely go strike out on their own. But we already have smiths, we already have homesteaders, we already have whatever. So everyone who comes in and is new, I'm just like, I don't know, go hunt or something. I don't know, go hunt or something. Like, they don't get to learn the game and really build their own thing, you know? So I'm RPing it as, like, we hate the brokies, don't come to our rich area. But what I'm actually trying to say is, you won't have as much fun playing the video game here because there's nothing for you to do. You need to, like, probably make your own enclave where you can be the homesteader. You can be the whatever. You know what I mean? I think that would ultimately be better for them, because then they can, like, play the game, you know? But we've kind of, like me and Evan and Dread, we've done, like, all the farm stuff, and we're working on animal husbandry. No one else needs to touch it, right? We have 2 people running the kitchen. No one else needs to build a kitchen, you know? So, like, I think it takes away from their fun experience of, like, getting to play the video game. They really should go make their own towns and have, like, little enclaves of, like, 8 people everywhere. But, you know, that's tough. That's tough when everyone just wants to play with their friends, you know? So that's why I was like, we'll build the slum, because it lets them still be around, you know? But it puts them in that bucket of, like, you're just going to be a hunter because we don't have a job for you. Like, mechanically, we don't, you know? I don't know. Someone was talking to Candy yesterday that they had another town. We're looking to set up a trade route. There's, like, one other major town, yeah. There's one other major town. I think there should be, like, 4, probably. There's the one in Tutorial Town, but no one really lives there. Even the guy in Bleepy that was, like, the last person living there, he still just kind of spends all of his time in our town. But yeah. I think the RP would be funnier if people had more opposing towns that they built, right? And there was more, like, strife between the towns. I think that would be better. So I'm thinking of, like, I'm just gonna keep pushing people. I'm just gonna keep pushing and pushing until someone eventually breaks and leaves. It might actually be me, though. It might be me. Maybe not leaves, but I might, like, go, like, you know, East and West Lakeside. I don't know. I might do it. I already built a cellar that only 5 people have a door to. You know what I mean? Yeah, like pull a leg. Literally. I might have to be that guy. I don't know. Because what I was going to do is I was going to be the rich people, but I was going to have, like, 2 goons and go send them way off wherever to go steal shit from other towns. I was going to have, like, a thieves guild. Like, I had all these ideas in my head of what we would do, but now we have way too many people. Mayor crash out, then retreat to bunker. Yeah, the only thing is I can't have stuff growing inside. I have to make the rich person bunker something that I can sustain, I can live off of. So I go in the bunker and I can never come out. Like, I can just stay in there and be fine. I think that'd be really funny if I actually can have it be sustainable. If I could put animals down there, it would be good. But I don't know how I would grow stuff. I would probably have to make a glass roof somewhere that lets light in and make a greenhouse indoors. And then yeah, make, like, a fallout shelter. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Yeah, north and south Lakeside. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But I'm making a class system on the server. That's that's my start. And I'm gonna just, like, keep pushing some people until they either do something really funny in roleplay, or they break off and make their own spot, or they, like, declare their own faction, or, you know, whatever. That's what I'm hoping for. But I think people are they're too nice, so I don't know if they're gonna do it. But the content would be so good. The content would be so good. I don't know. Will you task Candy with making slumlord duplexes? Candy's been having so much fun with it too. They've been I really like, because Candy's been really helpful in building stuff, but also, like, taking up the kitchen when Fleshy's not around. Because we needed 2 people on that, you know? But yeah, it was fun. Odds on anyone having a genuine crash out from that? Well, that's the thing I'm worried about. So not everyone was introduced to the server thinking this was any more than like, we're just going to play Vintage Story together, right? A lot of people didn't think that this was going to be like a roleplay server because we literally have nothing in the Discord. People just, oh, we're playing Vintage Story. Do you want to play? And then they get thrown into a Discord. And then if you go to like the announcements channel, it's just like, here's how you join. That's it. So not everyone, so I'm trying to be considerate of that, right? Like not everyone joined the server thinking that like, oh, this is an RP server. This is like, we're going for the content arc or anything like that, you know? So, so like some people will come to the town and I'll be like, we don't want the pores here, whatever. And instead of being like, wow, I can't be here, they're just like, oh, haha. And then they just keep eating our food and like getting into the community. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to like force those people to leave because I think they just want to play with their friends, you know? But I don't think they're like expecting that, you know? So I don't know. We got to figure it out. But we'll do something at some point. We'll do something. So another streamer was watching Silvara, was invited by Boone and made it sound like, hey, just come play this game. Yeah. That's what Boone's been telling everyone. It wasn't introduced as an RP server, so I'm not gonna like turn around and be like, by the way, guys, you can't break dirt blocks around my bunker because it's RP. You know, like, you know. Tried RPing all over the place has been great. Yeah. Oh, it's been so funny. Thanks. Oh, it's been great. I have plans though. I have plans. Actually, I forgot to message someone something, by the way. Hold on, I have a good idea, so I'm saying the idea to the friend. Click, 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 click. Okay. I told them my idea. Yeah, you said I do worry about some drama of them being like, what the hell's up with this GEEGA chick? Yeah, that's the thing. I think people might not know that like this is an RP and they might think I actually hate them, you know? That's my concern. My genuine concern is I will roleplay this and I'll tell people you're the pores, get out, and they'll think I'm doing it because I genuinely don't like them and not because I'm trying to do a bit, you know? So that's why I'm like not actually forcing them to leave. I'm just being annoying about it, but I'm not forcing them. Because I've thought about like mechanically making them leave. I see them, I kill them every time, you know? Now, I think a lot of the people in the town are like kind of getting it that we're doing that. So maybe, but I don't know. Because I feel like every day there's a new person that shows up that was like not on the same page of that. And so like, you know. Goofy as it is, Boone saying RP cards up and down makes it easy. Yeah. It's been funny. It's been really funny. Anyway, we'll play it today. We'll play more today. I want to do media share though. It is Monday. I know it's been in the title and we've been yapping. But we gotta do the thing. Let me get my... What the hell is that? Oh, YouTube tab starting to play. We're gonna do some media share, okay? The rules are, if I've seen it before, I'm gonna skip it, most likely. Please be funny or interesting. 2 minutes or fewer. Do not send me long videos. If you send me something that's long, I will watch a little bit of it. Maybe I'll realize it's long and then skip. Maybe I'll be like, oh, we'll give this 1 minute, you know, whatever. But don't send me long shit. What else? What else? Don't be weird. I will see what username sends what. I will see it. So if you send something that's not okay or way too weird or whatever, you will still get moderated for it. You will get moderated. Ah! Sorry, we have a loud ass video. What else? I think that's really it. Obviously keep it within Twitch TOS. I know YouTube's TOS is a little different. It's mostly the same though. 1 link per person. You can send more, but if you spam, I'm gonna call you an idiot and like get rid of some of yours. I don't think this is a rule, but you know, you can send me clips of my friends and things, but sometimes you guys send clips and I don't know the context because I don't know everyone's chat joke, or it's like someone that I don't know that well. Just be aware that if you send me a clip of somebody and I don't really know them that well and there's some inside joke that I don't get, I'm just going to sit there and stare at it. I'm not going to be like, haha, because I don't know what it is. Okay. I don't know. I also won't like a clip just because it has my friend in it. It has to still be funny, all right? Sometimes people send shit and they're like, your friend's in it. I'm like, okay. I see him all the time. You know? This is media share. It's for everyone, all right? All right. Links in the Discord? No, we're gonna, it's not open yet, but we're gonna do them in the chat. All right, so get your links ready. Get your links ready. Where's TV? You said, if I did run my own server rather than be on someone else's, I'd probably get annoyed if people mess with my things, like certain someone's on GEEGA's server too. Yeah. I've been telling people that I hate when people touch my things and seeing how they react to it. I've been just saying that. I've been like, guys, I just hate when people touch my stuff. And we're just seeing if they you know, if they stop doing it or if they don't. Okay, I have this set up. I have this cello stream when I have to get my bow rehaired. Actually, I can't even play it right now. It finally loosened up. No Facebook Reels, no YouTube links only. But yeah, my bow needs to get rehaired. It finally like died enough. Clip queue. There we go. Clip queue. Okay, I'm going to open the queue right now. It is now open. If you post a link, a YouTube link, it will work. It will go in the queue. I already see stuff that we've been seeing before. Also, you know, again, not a rule, but try not to only post old memes. So many of you are like, hey, don't forget, there's a lot of millennials here, and then you post things from like, you know, 2008. Look, a lot of us are from that era. Okay? A lot of us know about this shit. You don't have to share your favorite 2008 meme for the 5th time. This is a classic. Yeah, that's what they always say, right? This is a classic. I don't mind some of them. I don't mind some of them. Sometimes it's just that 10 times in a row, you know? You know, let's try to share things that are new to us if we can. Okay. BGM off. BGM off. What are the media share rules or where can I find them? I just said them. That's the best I could tell you. 2 minutes or fewer. Don't be weird. Okay, I'm closing the queue. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boom. Okay, it's closed. It's closed. All right, well, great media share. You're all very funny and great, and you have the best hobbies. You have the breast hobbies. You have the breast hobbies ever. All right. It's time. It's time. You already know. You already know. Thank you for gifting a sub, Salted Water. Thank you for anyone who's been resubbing, who's been doing anything. I don't want to interrupt the whole thing to turn toward you, but thank you. The BGM is thingy. Oh, the thingy I asked for? Okay. Thank you. Nucky? Do you have anything to say to the people, Nucky? Before I turn on BGM, would you like to say anything while it's really quiet? Hold on. He's like on the brink of meowing. He's on the brink. I can see it. Nuck. He's like about to open his mouth. Nucky. Meow. Oh, he did the open mouth but make no sound thing where they just push some air out, you know? Oh, Nucky. You tried. I'll count it. I'll count it. He doesn't know the difference. He's rubbing on the mic. Why don't you meow into the mic, though? Give him a good one right on the mic. Ooh, there we go. Not too bad. Not too bad. Not too bad.